Welcome, everybody, to the NLC. Yesterday, we had our finals completed. We are through the regular season, but as I said, we still have 4 more days of amazing content coming your way. We have our relegation series. Now, maybe not so amazing for the teams playing in it. There's a lot at stake, and it's going to be a very high-stakes tournament. But, of course, it's got lots of action. We may even be welcoming new teams to the NLC at the end of it. I'm going to say thank you to El Giganten, Corsair, and Telia. No, Corsair, that's wrong. El Gigante, MasterCard, and Telia. Apologies. Max might kill me. I just got the old the old sponsors. El Gigante, and Telia, and MasterCard. I have no idea I said the other one. But of course, I'm also welcomed by Troublelink, and Jamada will be coming on to the desk for these relegation series. I want to start off by having a look at where we are in the relegation series, the bracket right now. And I will show you that we've got the 2 best of 3s coming your way today, Dusty and Galaxy and M&M and Bifrost. I kind of want to gauge your guys' thoughts on this, some very top-level thoughts on these 2 matchups between the teams that we have here.
I'm gonna be extremely honest and brutal. I just did not see signs of life from Dusty or Eminem. If anything, I saw more signs of life coming in from Eminem, even though they had less wins, because they seemed a lot more fired up. And I just couldn't put my finger on Dusty when it came to win conditions, for example. Which lane do you play from? Because they just weren't consistent when they won games, them being carried from one lane or someone popping off. It just happened. They won. They managed to get an advantage. They just rolled away with it, which happened very rarely. And in all honesty, I feel like the new teams coming in are much more fired up. And Eminem and Dusty are gonna have to take this extremely seriously if they want to stay.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think in terms of Eminem, it was you survive the first 15 minutes, you're probably going to win the game. With Dusty, it kind of depended on what Dusty showed up on the day, because, some days they looked like they were really good and they could actually contest even making it into playoffs. And then other days they genuinely just looked like they were on the same tier as Eminem. So I think, like you say, Trouble, Galaxy Racer, and of course Bifrost, they're here, they're hungry. They are going to challenge these guys a lot. I think particularly Bifrost, actually, because they were such a dark horse for Altelia Masters. No one really mentioned their names, right? It was Galaxy Racer, Resolve, Absolved. Those are the 3 teams everyone cared about for Altelia Masters. And then Bifrost came up and won the whole damn thing, even pushed Galaxy Racers aside come the best of 5. So I totally agree. And I think with Bifrost in particular, they seem to be a relatively multifaceted team. They can play through all 3 lanes. So I'm not sure how the likes of Dusty and Eminem will have prepared, but if there's any positive to it, they have definitely had the time to actually watch over the Telemaster games.
It's been a while since we've seen Dusty and Eminem on the NLC screen. We've had the playoffs, we had the break, we had the finals. It's been quite a while since we've actually seen these guys play a game. And as you said, they've had plenty of time to A, scout who they're playing against, but B, also maybe scrim and work on things to potentially improve their players' roster. If I were to just probe you and say, do you think one or any of these teams or both teams are making it back into the NLC? What is your gut instinct about these 4 teams and who you think will be ending up back in our tournament at the end of the split?
So the thing is that I feel like Dusty would be more likely to make it back, but due to them playing versus Bifrost, they might have to drop and do it through lower bracket, because I do believe that we might actually have Bifrost joining the NLC. And when it comes to Eminem, I'm just honestly really scared about how they were able to reset coming through such a really bad run in the NLC. A lot of the players, even on Twitter and stuff, they just seemed kind of shattered. So I hope they did have the time to sort of bounce back, go through the mental reset, and just come back much stronger, play for the win conditions. So if anything, I'd say possibly Dusty through lower bracket.
Yeah. I think for me, I definitely agree. I think Dusty can still make it back in. I think Bifrost and Galaxy Racers both look really strong. I think the worrying team here is definitely Eminem. If there's a positive side to it, though, they have brought in a new jungler and an AD carry, so there's a chance for them to look a little more revitalized, especially the jungle role in this particular meta. It's a very vocal role in general, but when you're talking about a very farm-heavy meta, a very sort of jungle/bot-centric meta, and then you've replaced both of those roles, something might obviously change here come the relegation series.
Well, let's take a look at which games we've got coming up and when. I want to have a look at that schedule and show you exactly what is planned for our first day of this relegation series. It'll be Dusty versus Galaxy to begin with at 6 p.m. and Eminem versus Bifrost at 9. Now, obviously, things will be quicker if we get a 2-0, but obviously these times are allotted and allowing for a potential 3-game series on both ends because we have 2 best of 3s. So Dusty coming up against Galaxy, the 2nd seed, and then obviously M&M coming up against Bifrost, the 1st seed, coming out of the Telia Masters. M&M, I think, have the bigger challenge just off the bat. But that first series will be Dusty versus Galaxy, and that's kind of what I want to kind of dive into just as we head towards that first game. I have about 4 minutes until we head to a break, and then we'll get ready for that first champion select. I want to refresh our viewers on the strengths and weaknesses of Dusty, just based from what we knew from the NLC. What is it that Dusty do? How do they win their games? And where do you think that Galaxy might look to exploit to try and sort of take advantage of their weaknesses?
Honestly, I felt like through the entirety of the NLC, they just didn't have an identity. Dusty were like all over the place. They didn't have a specific lane they wanted to play through. They didn't have a game plan. It just felt like if the lanes happened to steamroll their opponents by possibly having the stronger matchup, possibly getting a gank that was successful, then yes, it would click into place and then they would snowball to victory. But that doesn't necessarily really happen if there's no plan. This is why they ended up with so few wins in the NLC. And I feel like they just need to find more of an identity, how they want to play as a team. If they want to play the more brawly style, they can do that, but then they need to draft for it, then they need to, schedule everything around that, right? They need to have the macro for it and everything, because if it's just let's just go win lane, win game, this is just not going to work.
Yeah, I think especially when you talk about the inconsistencies of Dusty's laning phase, because one of the things we highlighted throughout the regular split for them, it's like, do you really want to take flippy early game skirmishes and then end up in a position where you're behind? And Dusty haven't really been the best from behind. When they've been behind, they typically just end up losing. And I think into a team like Galaxy Racer as well, where they're relatively bot side focused just because Monk exists, and Monk is not playing in the mid lane. Monk is finally back in the bot lane. Anybody
what
watching?
I just wrote.
Oh yeah,
Monk not mid lane. I'm like, no, I'm not interested.
Yeah. So Monk is playing in his home role. So yeah, I think Kakan has usually been left to his own devices on self-sufficient champions, things like Renekton, that kind of flavor of champion. So I would expect Galaxy Racer to kind of just focus towards the bottom side. For the Dusty bottom side, sometimes they didn't look great, and that would be kind of the root of a lot of their early laning phases going so poorly and then spreading out to the rest of the map. So this could be one of those situations where Galaxy Racers might actually be a pretty good matchup into Dusty too.
And Svene coming in, he used to be a top lane player, I believe. Svene, he's made a switch over to the support role, right? That's the same, he's the same Swedish guy, and he's moved over to the support role with Monk. That's an interesting one to keep my eye on. Haven't seen him play since I saw him playing top, so I'm going to be really interested to see how he does in this series. And Jakey in the jungle, like, he's an incredibly storied name. I believe he's had a European Masters experience. I believe I've seen Jakey at the European Masters before. He was coming from one of the Balkan regions, I believe, but he's again got a lot of talent on this roster. Like, this is a roster that I could very easily have seen being in a high tier, a regional league, let alone coming from Telia Masters into the NLC. So I think this is going to be a very, very strong series for both teams, to be honest with you. But actually, this Galaxy Racer team does look pretty shocking. Yes, here we go. Gulbug is confirmed. He played with Asuba in the European Masters, and he was. I know he drew a lot of praise from the likes of Veteran. I know Veteran rated him very highly, for instance, and that's a guy who always tends to scout out, like promising talents coming from the European regional leagues. So, I think we're looking at a pretty banger game here, banger series. Now, obviously, we don't have predictions today. We haven't got any predictions in terms of formal applications, but I will just kind of probe. You guys have said you think it'll be Dusty going through and M&M going through. Sorry, M&M not going through. So Dusty going through and Bifrost going through today. Is that something you think is pretty clear cut, or do you think any of the series will be closer, too close to call?
I think between Galaxy Racer and Dusty, I think any team can kind of go through. I think if Dusty actually look like the stronger version of themselves, then they will 100% beat Galaxy Racer. But Galaxy Racer are a really consistent team. They barely dropped games throughout the regular season in Sweden. And they only really started losing a little more consistently in terms of game by game once they hit Telia Masters. So I think if Dusty really mess up, then Galaxy Racer can very easily take this series. And then with M&M, it's M&M. I think we know how we feel about them.
Okay, so because I said Dusty are going to make it through the lower bracket, Galaxy Racer is going to win 2-1. And then I think the second best of three is a 2-0 for Bifrost.
There we go. Confident in Bifrost. We'll have to see. A lot of things can happen. A lot of growing could have happened in these few weeks in terms of scrims and also the information they've collected. But of course, got to start with draft. We're going to go to a quick break. When we are back, we'll have that first draft of our first series.
sing higher with the breeze. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Over the seas, the blue and the green. You got the power. You show the way. You got the power. Natural grace. Over the seas, the blue and the green. The air I breathe. You give to no matter what, we're gonna keep moving on. Burn this city down, we can take it on. And we're gonna reach the top side of the moon. Yeah, we're gonna reach the top side of the moon. Let's step forward into the night. Come out like wolves in the pale moonlight, and watch us take over the world, the world. Rise up from under the ground. Let's get lost just to be found, so we can take over the world, the world, the world. No matter what, we're gonna keep moving on.
We have our first draft of our first series on the way. It is going to be Galaxy going up against Dusty. Now, obviously, Dusty came in as the top seed. We had a mini relegation series before we even got into our playoffs where Dusty and Eminem played, and Dusty won that. And they came in as the top seed in the relegation sort of bracket lineup. And obviously, Galaxy Racer lost to Bifrost. So they came in as the second seed coming out of the Telio Masters, which is why they are matched up today. And you can see the rosters. Flagships versus Kakan, Chelm versus Jakey, Legions versus Dragain, Hoys versus Monk, well, Hoys and Pedersen versus Monk and Svene. So lots of extremely talented players in this series to kick things off. And I think actually I want to build on something that Jamada said. This might be a very bot-focused draft, but also maybe a bot-focused game, especially with the way that Galaxy Racer plays.
Yeah, that and the fact that when Dusty have had success, it was off of the back of Hoist getting an Estia ADC and managing to snowball down bot lane together with Pedersen and then sort of snowballing it through the rest of the map, as well as like Monk and Svenne doing the exact same thing. So you would expect a lot of the bot laners to get out of the way. You would expect possibly maybe a Kai'Sa first pick for the sort of Dusty or something S tier, something like a Caitlyn potentially if it stays up. The Rel has been banned away, the Tristana has been banned away. So this is literally the next thing that pops to mind, something like a Kai'Sa.
Yeah, I think with the Tristana ban, Kai'Sa kind of makes a lot of sense, but there was also 2 jungle bans, so I think the Lilia first pick also sort of down that same vein. Dusty just prioritizing that champion a little bit more than their AD carry. And I think for Monk, it wouldn't be too big of a surprise to see something like Kai'Sa be locked in. And then you can just also match the jungler because you know what you're playing into. Jacky's played a relatively wide variety of junglers, so I'm not necessarily going to pinpoint 1 or 2 because outside of the Hecarim and Lilia, there is quite a wide pool still up and available. But I would expect Monk's AD carry to be locked in these first 2 rotations. And it seems we're actually going to get the Graves, which we haven't really seen too much of in sort of the last 2 patches or so. He's kind of fallen off a bit, just sort of in comparison to the other junglers, but that is going to be Jacky's choice of jungler for this matchup.
Here's the thing, I believe that Graves is just not S tier right now due to the fact that the jungle has slowed down even the tiniest bit, and Graves was just so easy to snowball games with like Shilbo Bloodthirster so early into the game, or the Gale Force into the Collector again so early into the game. So he had that spike where you could literally show up in your lane, completely destroy you, or tank your entire team and then push you out the map, which he doesn't have the power for anymore. I do like the Caitlyn peak. Now you have something like a Jinx that could go against it, that lanes pretty well versus the Caitlyn. He has the same power. Backline dive.
It's an early Yone from Legions. Now we
It's a
don't
win lane, win game, Exandrel. It's a win lane, win game.
He doesn't even know what he's playing up against. I mean, unless that flexes between Flashes and Legions. Yeah.
You don't know what you're playing against.
So there is that possibility it could end up top, right? I have seen it end up top in a couple of different leagues, but would I want to see Flaxius pilot Yone? Not particularly. So
I would.
You know what?
I would.
Glass half full. Glass half full. We're gonna see Dragane's rise though, which he does quite like the champion. He had a bit of a spree on it a few weeks back too. So very proficient at it. And into Yone, I'd imagine you sort of can force lane priority, especially after your first base. You should have the mana pool to be able to do that, and it can pair up relatively well with the rise, with the Graves, I beg your pardon, in terms of sort of like early skirmishing. Into Lilia Yone though, once they hit that level 6, it's gonna feel so difficult to play just because 2 members or 1 member gets put to sleep and it just sets up for that armor from Yone. It's such a potent combo.
I was about to say, it's just going to be so extremely tough to deal with it because also Yone can set up for the seed to hit from Lilia. If you ult the rise, then he's in place, then the seed will hit, then you hit the lullaby and good night rise. I just find rise to be like such a double-edged sword where yes, you can stop the Yone from coming at you when he pops the shadow, whatever it is, which seems like a Z ultimate. I don't remember the ability necessarily. It doesn't reach you, yeah, fair enough, but level 6, you're gonna have to play extremely cautiously, and I don't think even cleanse will help you actually survive this combo right here. I'm extremely surprised to see the Thresh and not lane prior supports getting banned out here, such as the Karma, the Lux, the Morgana, something that really empowers the Caitlyn lane. We talked about the bot lane scenarios and how you want them to snowball, so I would expect something like this. If it goes through, we could potentially see something like the Lux come through, because it is very strong versus Yone too.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm actually surprised to see Galaxy Racer banning out 2 supports of their own. I thought it would have made a little more sense to actually move away 2 top laners and then pick your top here, just because you have the Caitlyn lane and it makes a lot more sense to try and get that counter support matchup, just so you know you have guaranteed winning bot.
Right.
But in this case, they've actually just gone for the Alistar blind. But given the champion pool, there's not a crazy amount of champions left that can kind of hamstring him in lane. You do have something like the Gragas, I guess, but Gragas
we know Pedersen will play Gragas. We know.
Yeah, he would play it.
Yeah,
he would play it.
Like, so it's exactly. Like it's just an easy lock-in for him because it's like the in inverted commas like counter matchup because you can just body slam the combo every time. So yeah, I mean, maybe they just expected that. Maybe they just kind of wanted Pedersen to get onto that particular matchup. But I agree with you, Trouble. I was expecting maybe a more like double-ranged prio bot lane to get Caitlyn like power farming plates, but that's not the case here for Galaxy Racer.
And it's also like really hard to punish as well because of the long raids the Lux will have, the Karma will have, and you see like Yone coming at you, a Renekton coming at you, so the binds would have been so impactful into a trap, into a slow. It's going to be so annoying to play against. And at least... I mean, Kakan has been favouring a lot of now. He's
Yeah.
played a lot in the past season. I think a lot of top laners really favour it. It's just so funny to see like the regular, the playoffs that we just had where everyone and their moms would prioritise Na and they would just first pick it or they would just ban it instantly.
yeah.
And then here we have like R5
R5,
picking
nah.
Na.
Like that's what I was so confused about. You literally took the words from my mouth. We had Nah either first pick or ban with the XL and Fnatic, and these guys, they're like, nah, R5. Absolutely crazy. Look, we've got a few moments before we have to jump over to our casters for today. Jamada, what do you think, just based on these two drafts, what do you think about the win conditions? Who do you think comes in with the advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of look over to Dusty, and I think it's more or less kind of in their hands to kind of do whatever they want. They have a fair amount of lane priority across the board. They have stronger skirmishing for a majority of the early game too. So I think Dusty have come out, honestly, not like crazy far ahead, but far ahead enough to the point where they should be the ones with a lot of the agency. And I think that's probably really key for a team like this, where they've struggled with their inconsistency in the early game. So actually giving them the opportunity to play around the early game, it's probably the best thing they could have done. Galaxy Racer, though, I'm not sold on the order of which they picked their champions.
I'm just skeptical on the Alistar, honestly. It's the only thing that's literally a thorn in my butt right now. That Alistar that was picked, it should have been a very easy enchanter right there. You would get so much priority for your Graves, and right now you're playing long range ADC versus long range ADC. Jhin is gonna have the time of his life last year in these minutes. He's not gonna give a single care in the world if the Alistar gets anywhere near him. The Caitlyn is not gonna be able to jump from lane to lane to lane to get priority because Yone is gonna be able to push mid lane. That they have a lot of kill potential in the mid after 6 with the Lilia as well. Renekton should do relatively okay into Nut. Yes, the Nut does win the matchup. There's a lot of windows that the Renekton can also stay very even. And then with the help of the Lilia on the tops of the map, which is where I'm expecting the Lilia to play, it's going to be extremely difficult. I'm confused, guys. I'm confused. I think I'll go with Dusty here. I think they've got the upper hand.
Yeah, I think both of you kind of in the same camp here. However, like things like Nah, which is considered a power pick, being left that far down the draft is really interesting for me. Just given the diff.
It's fine because you've got the engage from the Na, right? So you don't necessarily need the Alistar. This is why I'm confused. I'm like, if they go in Alistar, they're like in engage, so it could potentially be like a squishy top lane, something like a Queen. But you don't blind pick a Queen, something like a Jace, but you don't necessarily blind pick a Jace. This is why I was like extremely confused.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, when I look at this Galaxy Racer composition, I don't even think they necessarily even needed engage when Dusty are likely going to be the ones moving forward anyway.
Yeah.
I think you very easily could have just blinded a top laner that enjoys those kind of things. Stuff like GP, Gnar blind there on R4 would have been cool too. And then you know for a fact you don't have to play towards the top side. You've got this Caitlyn lane with the support counter matchup. And then you almost guaranteed know you're going to have bottom lane prio. I would imagine Ryze could sort of sacrifice his mana pool to secure prio. And then you can just play off those two lanes of full sort of map dominance on the bottom side. So it strikes me as a bit strange.
Yeah, the weird thing is that with Caitlyn, you sort of want to use her as a power tower taking tool.
Yeah.
So you take bot side, then you move to top side, then you move to mid, and then you have the Herald as well assisting you right there. This is why lane priority and like screaming it all the time is just so important for her because she needs to constantly be underneath enemy tower. She can't be anywhere near. This is why you need the range support as well because you need to hold your distance from any sort of engages. You need to keep people low HP enough so that they can't engage you. And I don't think it's necessarily going to work with the Gragas because he does reason a lot from his W, and Alistar's just not going to pose enough threat. And another problem that I'm seeing right here is that I don't necessarily see much priority lane for your Graves, and we've talked about the Graves falling down the ladder quite a bit due to him not being able to dictate the games as easily, due to him not getting the item spike that he wants that early into the game. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
So, listen, it could be the situation where you just suddenly just win lane and win game. They could pull a Dusty on Dusty, but that's going to be tough.
But you know what? We actually have someone who is pretty knowledgeable in that particular regard on
Who's that?
standby. Well, I've got a surprise for you. He is here. I mean, he's a pretty big deal. His book is now a multinational bestseller. I think his face will do all the do the talking for us. You'll recognize him instantly. All I will say is Denmark.
He also looks really cute today.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Castle Desk. I was about to pick that up and like, yeah, I have sold a multi-seller best book, but actually you are looking kind of cute today, Gulborg, as we are getting ready to go into our first game of the day. One of Relegations here at the NLC. Look at him blushing over there, all shy and coy.
I don't know what
now.
to say. I don't know what to say. You completely
Thank you,
just shot
Jake.
me down.
That's a lovely compliment you got there. Normally, when I throw, it's a disaster. I just throw a grenade into a scoundrel's hand and let it explode. They gave you a nice compliment, and once again, I get ignored. We're getting ready to go into our first game of the day. Desk very heavily in favor of Dusty. I like what they've got put together here as well. I'd like to get your thoughts though, Gulborg. What are you thinking of these comps?
Well, first off, I agree with what the desk has to say. I definitely see how it can become hard to play, but what there also is in the argument of winning the lanes, winning the game, it's not that we're looking onto. I'm looking onto the priority you get from those lanes in the beginning. You got the range into melee matchup in the mid lane. It's going to take at least some levels before Yone get that priority. Now into Renekton, you get that priority as well. And with the Caitlyn into the Jhin, you get the priority in the beginning as well. Both supports take a bit of ramping up. Alistar is not going to do anything level up. Level 1, Gragas got a body slam level 1, which just gives him that extra momentum down there in bot lane, but Caitlyn with the range should be able to take that priority. So I'm looking on to Jesh here. I want to see what he gets done in the early game and how he's able to carry them, because he has been a carry jungler for the team. We've seen him on Nidalee in the finals of Telia Masters. We saw him on the Graves as well, where he just went for the Gale Force Collector that we also saw Makoon do earlier in playoffs in the NLC. So there is a lot of carry potential coming in for the jungle, and I think that's the win condition that we also need to take a look at from the side of Galaxy Racer.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of different Graves builds. I've seen more recently people erring towards the slightly assassin build Graves, where you do go the Gale Force Collector, you just kind of slide in and two-shot them. Over but what we had at the beginning of the NLC season, which was more when we saw Graves, it was more the shield bow bloodthirster kind of pseudo tank build from him. So I actually prefer the assassin Graves. I think it's a lot more explosive, a lot more fun to watch, and like you said,
I agree.
It's more that carry role as well. Those two items, when you got those, you really can one-shot a squishy. So Hoyes has to be very careful, as sure, you do get two flashes because Gale Force is an item now as an AD carry, but he is technically an immobile AD carry, so does have to be a little careful of getting slid onto. But we did have ourselves a light pause issue, but that has now been resolved, and we are ready to get back into our game. I say back into our game, into our game. First game of the day here. Remember, this is Relegations. Dusty falling out from the bottom of their group over in the NLC, fighting for a chance to make it back into summer. Galaxy Racer from Sweden, from the Swedish Telia League, will be looking to make their way into the league starting in summer. And it all starts with a win in this best of 3.
Yeah, I will say, though, that Dusty was in a group where, if you remember back then, Jake, we had a tiebreaker between 4 teams when they were 3 and 5. Godsend, Granite Gaming, Dusty, and Nordavin, who went up to get 3rd place in playoffs. This group was so close, and it was about 2 games who was going to go to playoffs and who was going to go down to relegation. So I think that Dusty definitely a team that's up there and on a better level than M&M will be later, unless they've improved drastically with their roster changes. But I will also say that Galaxy Racer, with the roster they have right now and the names I'm looking at, I could honestly, if you just told me that this was the NLC matchup in the league, I'd believe you, because this is the level we're looking at between these 2 teams.
Yeah, genuinely. I mean, it's like you were saying, Dusty, they've come from potential playoffs to relegations. That's how tight it was. And, that's also kind of going to be slightly heartbreaking for Dusty now as well. So they're probably here with something to prove, for something to play for. As the wave's going to start up, and Legion's actually helped Chelm out on his Raptors. So it's going to be a little bit slower to the lane, as Kakan also helping with a leash. And Flaxish, we'll find him in this bush. It's looking to get a little bit of that light poke in. Can't actually get chunked out pretty heavily here, although Kakan does have that grasp and can just look to poke into him. But that's the pot burn, at least from Kakan.
Yeah, gets 1 minute advantage as well. And that's just the luxury you have when you're not leashing for your top laner. You can go up in that tri-bush and you can try and trade them down, so they'll have more priority towards the lane. Here in this scenario, they trade out pretty evenly, and Kakan, being the range champion into the matchup, will still get the priority back. So he gains a bit of breathing room in the early game, but not really much more than that. And speaking of the 2 jungles, you can actually see right now, they're starting on opposite sides right now. So we're not going to have any skirmishes around any of the the scuttles. They're probably just going to full clear, try to see if any lane needs a push in, and then just go back and get that item so they can start full clearing again and try to out-tempo the opposing jungler. I'd like to see that at some point through the priority after the first back has come through. You try to go and look for picks onto the enemy jungler when you start hitting that level 6, because that's when the priority is really going to come into favor for you. You can get a Drake, you can get some camps, you can try and just keep a gold lead growing exponentially, but in the early game, it is much just going to be about these minion waves being pushed in.
Yeah, a bit of a farm fest to start us off. Now, Legions has hit that level 3 mark, so the Soul Unbound gets that lovely little trading pattern, which we're about to see demonstrated here. Jumps in, gets the knock up, nice little trade back. Will zip out as he lands one last mortal steel.
It's one of the reasons.
The trading pattern of Yone.
Exactly, it's one of the reasons why Yone has started to rise in popularity, specifically against control mages. Soul Unbound into being on top of their face with their mobility, and you don't get punished by them being a ranged champion by having to walk out, because you instantly just go back to where you left from with that soul. So reason why Yone has been so good into control mages, if you've been wondering about it, and that's also the X matchup with it. You want to survive the laning phase, see if you can get any leads, and then go towards that side lane afterwards, where you hopefully will outscale them. But the Rise into Yone matchup can be a bit tricky. Yone is about hitting your abilities. If you miss on a side lane against Rise later into the game, you will just get blown up.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty hairy there. As bot lane, little bit of light trading. Trap goes down a little bit slow from Monk, so not going to continue the CC chain onto Pedersen. And with the fact he's got that aftershock, he's pretty tanky as long as he gets a belly bop off.
And here we go. And finally, junglers are resetting. You can actually see Chelm haven't actually reset yet, but from the side of Jeska, you can see up in that top side now. And TPs have been expended for all solo laners now. Mid lane, all use their TPs. Top lane, all use their teleports. That just means so much more if you can get a pick now. You can see the wave right now from Flaxius. He's pushing in, but Kakan, if he can freeze it just outside of his turret, Flaxius will have to play with a thought in his mind that Jeska can always be around. And he might not be around, but it's something you have to respect throughout the whole time. And maybe something that you can look to punish. But right now, vision control, you can just look at it in the map. Tribush already warded from the side of Flaxius towards that mid lane, towards the beach. You can also see that the ward has been spotted. So they're putting out all the correct defensive ward against Jeski, who should probably try and look to influence one of the lanes soon.
Yeah, keep our eyes on to him. But for now, this bot lane's a little bit more scrapping's breaking out. Zvene does get the headbutt pole off, and well, he's going to get pretty heavily traded onto, but with that 4th shot, turns it around quite nicely. Does mean, as far as the health bar percentages go, Dusty are up, although Monk is chugging away on a potion, so it's going to heal up somewhat. And you do have, obviously, the heal from the cow. And here's what he's saying. Jeski looking to come into this top side of the map. Flaxius just able to double dash away.
And that's just how it goes. And that's kind of the window, not completely blown, but Kakan, with that freeze that he tried to, didn't get it completely down, so the minions started a slow push instead. So Flaxius didn't have to go up and contest anything. He could try come in, and now Chelm is here as well, try to punish Kakan being slow pushed into him.
So LC's going to go a little bit wide. Chelm doesn't have the level 5. Kakan actually able to jump away from a fair amount of that damage, and with the hyper proc, gets enough movement speed. About to Nara as well, so pretty hard to go for a tower dive onto him, even though he's not even got that 6. Just would have got enough health and enough slows and CC to work with. Legion's just poking and being an irritable problem for Dragain.
Yeah, but here we have to go back and talk about priority as well, because with this, Kakan, he'll have to recall. He couldn't get the wave shot in, which would have given him the cheetah recall, where he could just recall while the minion wave were being slow pushed towards him. Now, Flaxius gets to push the whole minion wave into the tower. He gets to recall. The minion wave is going to bounce back to Flaxius. And all in all, he haven't lost a single thing. Kakan's, he's one wave behind right now. You can see it in the XP, you can see it in the minion waves, and that's what we're talking about around this pressure here. You can also see in the gold, Flaxius being 300 gold up, essentially a kill just from priority and jungle help. So this is why it's so important when junglers are playing these hard clear champions like you get with Lilia, like you get with the Graves. It's going to be around the priority you can get. It's not going to be about the kills.
Well, the wave's now going to bounce back in the top side. Flaxius will lose a couple, but not really much. He'll still get these casters at the back, so as far as the CS goes, Flaxius will remain up. Okay, drop 2 minions, don't worry. God damn it, Flaxius. Prove me wrong, why don't you? Khan's going to mark Nara out here, so we'll just be able to shove the wave in pretty quickly. into Flaxish and then look to move out. We take a look at what objectives are spawning up in a moment. We do have that Rift Herald coming up any moment now. 30 seconds until that's up. The Ocean Drake has been kind of uncontested, and unlike yesterday, where in our Fnatic versus XL match, there was a lot of attention put on to that particular early dragons. This game feels like neither team really willing to go for those early objectives yet. There was a potential gank by Zvene in the mid lane onto Legions, but Legions not going to get caught out.
Yeah,
Chelm has found Jiski.
both top laners just pathing around, or both junglers just pathing around this top side right here. There is, I don't know if it's a small slow push that's been started. Kakan.
Oh, he's dead. He's going to sleep, and Chelm, one last Eep, finds himself the kill. That is first blood for Dusty.
And sadly, he felt so safe because Jeski has just been around the area. He thought he had the vision to also back him up. No mid laning roams need to worry about. But with this play coming in towards the top side, they are going for the crossbat, which will be the Drake. But at the same time, Shelves knows this, so he's just going to take the Rift out instead. You can see the vision control fully supports them here. Pink ward towards the top side, pink ward towards the pixel push, so it's just really easy for them to go for this trade. So you don't really mind this Drake coming down. With the gold lead that you can get with this Rift Herald, with the priority you can get, you should be able to contest the next Drake if you set it up properly.
Yeah, and if they slap that down in the top lane and give Flaxish first turret blood as well, suddenly this lane that Kakan's already struggling in becomes nigh on impossible for him. It's going to become so hard for him to handle. Now, for the moment, Chelm not interested in using it topside. He's actually just looking to clear out some of his jungle camps. As look at the jump with his Venom. Doesn't actually have his ulti, but Hoy's out of shots. It's getting a lot of damage put into him there in response. The curtain has been called, and Monk's going to take a couple of shots here. There's the belly bop. Fourth shot's going to get flashed away. The ignite has been thrown down. Hoy's looking to come in. That's a great cask, though, as Hoy's gets the kill. Zvene's going to be next up. It's a double kill for Hoy's.
And that's just straight up a 2v2 kill at the same time in the top lane for Dusty. They're trying to go in and Kakan again. Flash down.
They don't have that lilting lullaby. With the flash down, it's going to be enough. They actually do find themselves a cheeky kills, but Dursing gets executed. So a nice 2-0 for Dusty. Flips back around, and it's a 2-for-2 globally now.
Yeah, so much stuff happening right now on the map. Mid lane will though be pushed in. Dragain still no TP, so he'll be forced to go back. Actually, they're being really smart about it. They're sending their bot lane towards the mid lane instead, so they won't lose too many resources while Dragain can still get resources towards that bot side. But with this mid lane priority you get from Legions, with the ultimate almost being off, and the Rift Herald being available for Chelm, you could look towards the tower dive now, where you can just one-shot the turret. But they already smelled this. Sven is up here, Jeski is up here. This could be dangerous for Dusty.
Yeah, spotted them out already as Legions actually just ults away to safety. Chelm uses the lilting lullaby, but only on to one. Flaxish on the run. Kakan's going to survive, and beautiful little pick there by Galaxy Racer onto the Dusty jungle. Now that Rift Herald, 1/3 of its time has already been used up. Seems they're going to be a little bit more itching to get this going, as Trap's going to land onto Legions the moment he lands from that teleport.
But man, so many things just happening in a small amount of time here. Botlane getting 2v2 killed, and that means a lot. Like, we hyped up Monk a lot as an AD carry, not per se as a mid laner, really. I think we can all agree with that. But there's a lot now of expectations coming into Monk, especially from this Galaxy Racer roster. As I said, like, we expect NLC level coming out from all players, even on the side of Galaxy Racer. And you can't get 2v2 like that. Even Svenne missing the headbutt polarized combo there, so maybe a bit of stage jitters, if that's what you can call it.
Well, they are looking to use the ace in the hole onto Pedersen. The cast comes out, and that is not going to be in the right position. Jeski flashes forwards to make sure he sticks on top of his target. Pedersen loses his life. Galaxy Racer really firing back from what was a rougher start for them, as Flaxish will get spotted out here, pops himself the Dominus, and Kakan getting chunked out pretty heavily. The slice, the dice, all the mix being already thrown down as Kakan gets pretty heavily chunked out now. He's about to gnar out though.
But man, how slick was that Grace play earlier? Like, it was nothing mechanical. It's just like, oh, I'm just flashing the cars. But the way he hit the wall with the Q afterwards looks so goddamn cool. And as you said, like, gold lead right now, completely even. Only 100 goals separating them, not even now. So definitely still a close game between the two of them. But Shelm, with that Rift Herald still up and available, could just one-shot this top lane turret, and you could get the first blood turret gold for free.
Jeski's making his way over slowly but surely. Spotted him out as the Cold Mix being used as we take a quick look at the Fog of War, but it doesn't matter because Dusty getting jumped onto here. Lilting Lullabies coming in. Legions is going to slide forward. His fate sealed onto Jeski as the Realm Warp brings in Dragain and a couple of minions to turn it around. It's a 1-4-1.
So bloody from everyone here. They knew it was going to come through. Pedersen's roamed up to the mid lane as well. Can he get the body slam?
He has that belly bot. Doesn't have the cast quite yet, and Dragain's just going to get pretty heavily chunked out. Zene's made his way over as well, so not going to be able to find anything else here. And this Rift Herald about to time out. It's actually not going to get. It's not going to get used in time. Chelm's going to have to be spamming that key. No,
I think he did. Didn't he? I think
no,
he did.
didn't get it in time.
Oh my.
Oh, he did.
Yes, he did. He did.
He did.
So, yeah, it's going towards the mid lane, which will get you some plates if you can get it to charge, and it will set the turret up for next Rift Herald to one-shot the turret. So if you can get that play, maybe you can justify this a little. but yeah, definitely not the best case scenario you came in for there.
They were itching to find that first turret blood in the top lane. It had been set up so hard by Flaxis. The charge is going to come in, and that is going to be the plates. As Legions gets jumped onto, does have the flash, however. Whew. No fate sealed, so would have to burn that. It's chunked out pretty heavily by Dragain. 2-0 now on this rise. Actually starting to really hurt. We did see a quick toggle of the gold, but I want to take a look at the items right now. Might have to hold that though, as Pedersen is on the run. He's going to be able to get away. We can see now, Monk has finished up his Kraken Slayer on the Caitlyn. Gale Force finished up for Jeki. Gale Force finished up for Hoys. That's it as far as the mythics go right now. So the Dragon's going to get spawned. Galaxy Racer are looking to pick this one up as, honestly, it looks like they're going to get it as Svene. That was tragic.
Oh, Svene not having a good day with those Alistar combos so far, but he'll make it work. First time's the charm, and he's failed it twice now, so of course he's going to be there next time. It's going to be absolutely perfect. Monk needs to be a bit careful here.
Oh, I think Monk's dead. Hoys has got the ignite on as well. Burning down, actually able to get away. Hoys flashes to safety. The collateral almost finds the kill. It was a beautiful little combo from Pedersen, but ultimately he is going down. The curtain has been called. The shots are coming in, and Dragain's coming in on the flank.
Oh,
you have to get these shots off quick, Hoys. Oh, no, Hoys. It's just sadness. Spain without the S.
I did think they got the turret first though in the top side of the map because they had to get that kill. So at least that is that's something. But you did lose out on the Drake. You did lose out on the turret. You did lose out on multiple kills. Didn't even get Monk. And yeah, that's absolutely insane. That's not worth it for you. 1k gold lead up for Galaxy Racer. And it's kind of to take it back what I talked about. You never really made that Herald work, so you couldn't come in and contest this Drake. And Monk, you really shouldn't be this far forward. You need to wait for your teammates here. The fact he doesn't die is definitely not a control play. Hoy's getting out with the skin of his teeth after that collateral damage. And after that, it's just simple. You have the priority in mid lane. You get Dragain, who's just roaming down, and it's just there. Oh, no, coming in here from the side of Dragain. He doesn't know, chat. And then he's just there. Like, it's, yeah, he's gone.
Like I said, Spain without the S, paint without the T. That's what happened down there. 15 minutes into the game, Rift Herald has spawned up, and Dusty do have position in the area for it. Like you said earlier, they could maybe now get their hands onto it and turn that into a mid lane turret. There is a ward in the pit that has been spotted out by Chelm's sweeper. As Dragain is... Oh my god, that's a dead crocodile. Oh. What happened there?
I mean, we knew who was fat.
Then pops the ulti, and they're actually trying to bait out Chelm's ulti, I think, there, but it's not going to quite be enough. There is still a Gnar with a teleport available, so if this does look a little bit too hairy, they can bring him in as the smite collects, and that is going to be enough to find that kill. Legion's now inside the pit, dodging away on a lot of things here as he tries to get over with the Q, but interrupted by Svene. Galaxy Racer just cashing in on even more kills.
Man, it is so hard for them to get anything. He can't just unnecessarily TPing in as well. He was pushing in the bot side so they could lose more resources then. But they got the kill in a 5v4. Dragain with that Rise combo together with the Everfrost just absolutely obliterated Flaxis, who has no magic resist whatsoever. And Hoy's Could be caught out here, but jungle support is coming. Oh, just jungle.
He just autoed a minion. He just autoed a minion. Oh my lord, what? Kakan finds himself a 1 versus 2 kill, goes into Mininar, meaning Chelm can pick him up. They had to commit a teleport because of how dicey that was looking. He doesn't even have a mythic. Kakan did that without a mythic.
Legions need to be careful.
Dusty are honestly looking rusty right now. They're just... I mean, like, even, like, it's actually worrying.
All right, so it's also insane because, okay, we get the replay coming in here. I looked at this, I'm like, I think you might be caught out a bit here, Horace, just because he's only level 9 onto the level 11 from Kakan. That's absolutely insane. But at the same time, this is not a control situation coming in from the side of Dusty. You can see the fact that Kakan is not already called dead here and the TP needs to come in. That's a sign of a chaotic communication as well. That's like, we are not in control of this game. We're just playing reactively. Oh, they're coming in top. Let's TP, let's TP. And remember, they initiated that play. They were waiting with Poise up in that top bush, waiting for Chelm to come up. Like, you could have made that a way more controlled play with the TP if you would have liked to, but they were not ready for it. They were not ready for the burst damage, and they paid for it.
As well as it does hit onto Monk there. So come out of the replay now. Kakan has finished off his Stride Breaker and bought a Bramble Vest, so I think Hoy's probably not going to try that ever again. He's learned his lesson as Legion's trying to clear out the pink ward, but will be spotted out. Dragon spawning up in 15 seconds, and Dusty do not want to be giving up this over. Otherwise, wants a soul point as the Realm Warp is going to deliver Kakan into the team. Great belly bump onto 2 though as they get the slam. Here it is. Gnar onto 1 on the backline, and Monk is just free firing away. Jackie able to find himself a quick kill in response, but Legions comes in with a Fate Sealed and secures another one for his team. It's a 2-for-1
And they're just
in favor of Galaxy Racer.
That's so crazy. They're fighting on 2 fronts of the mid lane right now, and Jesky's just making it work. 1v2 Dragon.
Almost, but now Monk's the one who's getting a lot of CC put into him. Tries to slide back. They get their headbutt pole, and Hoyce just slides in with a Gale Force. Now Dragain very, very low. 4 shot by Hoyce, not going to be able to find any extra damage here as Kakan just slides in with that Stride Breaker. Hoyce is already chunked out. Kakan dodges away on the Mortal Seal knock-up, and now Hoyce is just assassinated by Kakan. He gets the Gnar out. The Wallop isn't going to land, but Legions is headbutted. He is poled. He is knocked down by the boulder toss for the slows, and in comes the rest of Dusty. Dragain now going to get support inside for the moment as Flaxis just slices and dices forwards. Legion's able to escape away for the moment with that knock-up, and Legion's just about surviving his little skirmish versus Kakan. These fights are just manic. There's just so much going on at once.
And it's crazy because it seems like they're fighting. It's a fight they're fighting because they want control over the Dragon, but it seems like they're forgetting that in the midst of it and just saying, all right, that's a champion here. Let's just go for the kill. Let's get it in there. And as soon as Sven started hitting Alistar combos, I knew it was over. Like, he's actually hitting those combos now. He's going to be a champion. He's going to be something to look out for. And here I want to see it again with the fight going on about the 2 parts. Oh, it's actually the replay afterwards. Dragain having to expend the heal Monk once again, going a bit far forward here. Flash has come up for him now, but I think it's a bit too late. Gale Force comes in just to finish up Hoyce. And then after this point, I think you just need to back out. Like, Svenne, some really nice side steps for you to get out of there. Kakan just wants a bit more. And I guess you can argue you come in for this kill because Hoyce is very low. There's no Gale Force up for him. You could potentially get that kill, but, you know, Hoyce, he's dying with Flash here as well. Like, there is a potential for you just to get outplayed in this situation, and they keep it going. TPs comes in, but in the end, it is going to be Galaxy Racer losing out on the map. The fight is just too split out here. There's too much mobility in the Yone. Kakan trying to kill him, but in the end, the Shield Bow lifesteal is just going to keep him alive. And as soon as the Gnar comes out as a desperation disengage, you kind of know it's over.
Well, now we're 21 minutes into the game. The gold lead is 3,300. Sorry, 2,300. The gold ticked over in favor of Galaxy Racer right now. The challengers up in this game. A 4-1 rise. Dragain got his Everfrost and his stopwatch, or Zonya's. 2 items onto Jeki. Actually went for the Phantom Dance a second over something like a Collector. And he's just going to slide straight over this wall into Dusty's DMs and probably look to kill their jungle and their mid laner. Everfrost by Dragain is actually gorgeous onto Legions, chunking them out so heavily here. The rest of the team make their way over. Fate sealed onto 3 underneath the tower, but Svenne able to find the kill. The Lilting Lullaby going to put a couple of members to sleep. Stopwatches has been used, and Monk is just free firing away. Chelm not going to find the assassination off, and the cask is used by Pedersen. Svenne dodging away, but is going to finally lose his life, but it's only the support to find the kills. Flash just pops the Dominus. I think that might be all she wrote on that one. The Realm Warp going to just deliver Dragain forward. Hoyes actually finds himself a cheeky kill. That was a little bit too overreaching there. Not going to find himself a deadly flourish for the Roots. Kakan stride breakers forwards, misses out on the wallop.
I'm starting to
Galaxy
lose my
Racer.
mind a little. I'm really starting to lose my mind a little because of what I'm seeing here. I like the initial play that comes in from the side of Galaxy Racer here. Oh no, is TP up? Yep, TP is going to be up from Legion. There he goes.
No. Traps are going down by Monk. Legion's coming in. Gets the 90 count there off, actually. Puts another trap down on Legion's base. And now Monk getting jumped onto by Flaxis as Zeke is going to get himself the kill. That's going to be a double kill for him on the Graves. And now Flaxis is being melted through. That Graves damage is just phenomenal. One last end of the line, and he finds a triple kill. Zeke popping off on the Graves.
It's just nothing calculated about this. It's just like, all right, they're overstaying. Let's just go for the TP. Let's see if we can fight it. Let's just skill check it. That's all I'm seeing right now. It's skill check, skill check. Here we go, another one.
It's constant action, baby. Can't even teleports in. And it's done. They're going to go for Baron.
All right, so I'm going to try and recap how that whole exchange started, Jake. They actually started out by doing something nice. They got the priority towards the bot lane, they got the priority in mid lane, and then they wanted to remove the outer turret in the top side of the map. And then it just happened that these fights just kept on going, and Baron now going down should probably go to Jesky. It seems hard for them to come in and contest it.
They'll have to be in one hell of a cask from Pedersen to be able to make those partly oceans almost at that point to get through. Baron picked up for the side of Galaxy Racer. I talked momentarily that there were 2,300 gold up. Our gold leader's now grown even more, but might be slimming somewhat as Monk almost on theme right now, getting caught out. Does do a lot of damage to Hoyes with that headshot.
You
Kraken
had
Slayer
Flash. You had Flash. All right, listen, I'm getting both nostalgia and frustration at the same time because this is reminding me of me just casting Telia. This is Telia games right now, all right? And that's not to say the level is bad. I know this is an NLC, but it's just the fact that people want to skill check and they can get away with it at this point. You can see Jesky, how good he has been mechanically, individually, just continuously fighting. And he's on 3 items now. Almost everyone is on 3 items, 2 items already completed, and the fights are only going to continue. We only have a few minutes, 1 minute before the next strike is going to be respawning as well. And at that point, we're going to have another fight coming in, Jake. And it doesn't matter about the setup. It doesn't matter about the vision, because they're just going to go in there and they're going to get the best out of the fight that they can get.
You're getting nostalgia over Telia, and Monk's plays over in Telia. But I'm getting nostalgia over Monk mid. That's what I'm getting. 0-4. Oh, this is Monk mid, baby. He's back. But lucky for him, the rest of his team are having an absolute corker in the game. And to be fair, he has got 7 assists. He has actually been pretty active in some of these fights. As Dragain about to find himself a rise. Actually, the Everfrost. Ooh, fancy dancing for Dragain. Nice and speedy, boy. He'll dodge away on that.
Right about one thing as well. There were going to be action towards this bot lane and specifically in draft as well. But I mean, that action's not been paying up for Monk. And with this Baron buff, they finally decided to open up the map. You pretty much beat out Legions in the side lane with Dragain's Rise now. You beat the Renekton in the side lane with the Narwhal. Just set up that 1-3-1. You got the Baron, take control of the map, and when you do that, just choke your opponent out slowly. Wait for the next Drake if you have to. Wait for the next Baron. You are chilling. The scaling is favoring you as well from the side of Galaxy Racer. So I'd like to see them just take the tempo down a bit and wait for Dusty to commit a mistake.
Oh, Kakan getting jumped onto. The curtain call has been fired out. His stride breakers for a bit of space. Pedersen jumps forward. Great net by Monk, and that is just Pedersen going solo. Ace in the hole. Pop goes the Weasel. Pedersen is down.
And there we have it. That was a mistake being punished here. Even Dragain coming down with the TP as well. They're just being too unsure about where the map and how the game is going from the side of Dusty, and therefore they're just forcing these engages. They're like, oh, there's one on the other side of the map, let's just go for it here, we have to. But you're still playing into a team with loads of mobility. The Caliber net, the flash was even up for Monk, and TP for Dragain comes in, and now you get the inhibitor. This is what we want to see from Galaxy Racer. Now if they've taken the game down a bit, with the bot lane inhibitor down, now you just want to start doing the same process for the rest of the lanes. You still win out in these 1-3-1 scenarios. The TP is fine, it's down, it's okay. Just put him up in top side. Kakan's TP is going to be up in a few minutes as well. And then you just have him in the mid lane. Or, yeah, vice versa. Just commit to a lane.
I can't believe this mid lane's still standing as well.
Yeah, that's
Considering
crazy.
this was the one that got Rift Heralded on as Legions has to jump away. It's just a moo cow. But even so, that's enough to scare Legions to force him to use that Fate Unsealed as Chell. That was probably not the Blast Cone usage you needed, but he'll be okay.
Not the blast cone you needed, but the blast cone you deserve.
Oh, I think you have to press R before doing that play, Chell. It honestly,
I thought he did because they just stood still. So I'm like, they're asleep. No, they're just waiting for it.
he just pressed his buttons the wrong way around. Okay, it's a hard game back.
That happens. To be fair, that happens a lot. Sometimes your brain it sleeps. You have a brain fart and you just press one button before the other, and that just
Yeah,
the whole play.
you know. But
And you should know a
lane
lot about
freezing.
this.
It's sometimes we just
Oh,
make
yeah.
mistakes. He's not even
Sometimes-
here to defend himself.
That's how we like it. Just put them in their place when they're not able to. Have an argument back.
28 minutes on the clock, and it does look like Galaxy Racer are looking to close this one out. They've got supers in the bot lane, sieging on two sides of the map. They don't even need Baron to crack open these inhibitor towers now. Kakan very close to taking down this final one in the mid lane. Will be able to do so uncontested. Dusty, they're just too far behind right now. 11k down.
We're finally seeing it. The 4-1
9K.
here really coming through. And Dusty, they have to go for a desperation play soon because inhibitors are falling, both in the top side and the mid. Bot lane's already down, so you need to go for something soon, else you're just going to be starved to death before you even know it.
I just don't know if they can. The ace in the hole lands onto Legion's, chunking him out, so he needs to go heal. The Fate Sealed is back up. They do have their Lilting Lullaby. That Wombo combo, but was hinted on by the desk, is available. Can they get it? 2 members going to get put to sleep. The Legion's not in position to find the follow-up, and now the curtain has been called. Zeke is going to lose his life. They get themselves a couple of shutdowns as Legion misses out on the flash. Shelm being chased away from the rest of the team as Kakan is pulled back onto, and now Flaxish looking for the response. Kakan able to survive this, and he finds the slow. Here's the Realm Warp. Here's the kill. Dusty able to find a little bit of something, but it just wasn't enough. They've lost all of their inhibitors. The resets are going to come in. The gold is going to get spent. And then I think it's going to be a matter of just closing this game out cleanly for the side of Galaxy.
2 supers are come out in every lane now, Jake. Oh, Svenek could be caught, but important he stays alive because Baron is up in 20 seconds. That's the next play you want to go for. Support can't really afford to die now. He's your vision. And he gets out.
Able to slide away to safety.
I wonder if we're going to see a cross map here where just 4 members starting to take Baron and 1 starting to take the Soul. And here's the fight, Jake. They have to go for this. I know you said that they probably can, and I would agree with you. I don't think they were going to win this fight, but they have to do it or else they're just going to lose the game. And they actually find a really cheeky engage with Boys in the background as a sniper, just popping the sleep afterwards as coming in from Shelv. And yes, they don't get anything out of it, but they get to fight another day. And then this with Kakan and Flaxish is just a bit sad. Just a bit out of the Q range, and Flaxish, yeah, just standing still. He knows.
That's a dead crocodilian. 7 seconds until the Cloud Soul comes up. If Galaxy want to take it, they can. It's basically free. They've already picked up the Baron. I think they're just going to pick it up. Get that little bit extra movement speed. And let's close this game out with the help of Soul and that Baron.
It should be really doable. Like I don't see what Dusty could do now to stop this. You have some backline engage, but even then, Monk, even though he's 1 in 5, the items has come through the team. Gold he's gotten through towers, Baron, etc. There's been 2 of them, and then you have the Rise to worry about as well. You got the Gale Force, collect the Jeski Graves coming in here. Like there is just so many threats on the side of Galaxy Racer right now that you cannot deal with.
Well, it's go time. The ace in the hole and stride breaker onto Chelm already chunks him out, but doesn't get the knock out. The Fate Sealed goes between the goalposts. Legion's unable to fight it. Flaxish jumps in and finds himself a quick assassination off, but Monk able to free fire off onto this backline. The collateral damage, the boulder toss, everything being fired out, and Legion's is going to get taken down. Monk is unstoppable right now as a triple kill is picked up as Zeke, and Galaxy Racer just shreds through Dusty. Game number 1 going to Galaxy Racer.
Yeah, and you can see why the junglers have been getting so much praise from the side of Galaxy Racer here. Jeski 12 and 3, really making it work. He did have a shaky early game with Dusty actually doing a really good job at shutting him down with the wards coming down, so he couldn't really do too much about it. And then it looked a bit dire, but Dusty started to come back from these small skirmishes that they started to create, and it just happened that these skirmishes would continue throughout the entire game, even though they necessarily didn't have to, but it worked out in the favor of Galaxy Racer.
It was madness. It was just straight up madness that game. A lot of team fighting. It was a lot of fun to watch. Monk probably didn't have the most fun game, apart from maybe in that last fight where, honestly, I do think he put most of that damage down for his team. Honestly, he was just untouchable. Fantastic stuff, though, there for Galaxy Racer. Our team who are looking to make their way into the NLC start out hot versus defending team in Dusty and find themselves a win. We're going to throw to a break, and when we're back, we'll have the analyst desk to break that down. See you in a moment.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NLC, and that was relatively unexpected, but I've got one word for you. Jakey. This man absolutely crushed it. Really did on the Graves.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Xcandrel. It felt like looking at a game straight out solo queue. It had no structure whatsoever from both teams coming in. And yeah, when it comes to like solo queue games, it literally ends up being Diffie in the Jakey and
Diffie
Jakey
and the
like
Jakey, yeah. Diffie and the Jakey.
Diffie and the Jakey.
It's
And
Jakey.
he was absolutely insane on the Graves. Like, he could find the opponents, he could find the kills, and then he just literally snowballed from there. Even though I'm gonna have to say, I kind of feel bad for Hoyes because he felt like the poor thing. He was trying to 1v9, and then Yone came like flying straight through like Superman through everyone, not hitting a single ult. It was just really sad to watch from Dusty, honestly.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of disappointing, I think, from Dusty's perspective, because I really do feel like, again, they had the lane setups to actually make a lot of things go their way.
They had the comp.
They had the comp to the point where Galaxy Racers shouldn't have realistically been able to have contested them in a lot of scenarios, especially on these side lane skirmishes, but it ended up being differences between the actual laners head to head, where it then turned into like, you know, Legions and Chelm or Jakin and Dragane showing up to skirmishes after they'd finished and then mopping up those fights. And unfortunately, just via circumstance, it was Galaxy Racers that kept them pulling ahead off of the back of those, whether it's just like denying waves and then picking up plates off of it or whatever it is, because by the time we saw the third dragon spawn, they're about 5,000 gold up. And at that point, not that Dusty's composition didn't scale, but you don't want to be 5,000 gold down 18 minutes into the game. And Galaxy Racer kind of just ran with it, and eventually, obviously, they cracked open the base, come sort 25-ish minutes. And then from that inhibitor being open, they eventually just took the game, really, by cracking open the rest of the base.
Yeah, it honestly felt like from about 20 minutes in, it was like one-sided as hell. Like they just suddenly took control of the game and didn't let go. And then obviously Dusty at that point, especially when, you know, you can't be aggressive, you can't be the one setting up plays, you can't really peel back as that comp. It's so difficult to peel back and play like a front to back in that style, because you've got a Yone, you've got a Renekton. Like, it's just not designed to do that. You're designed to go in and fight, and they couldn't do it. Now it looks like we have our player of the game ready to break down here. I'm not sure which professor is taking me through it, so...
Well, I have the drawing board up. I don't know if Trouble does. If Trouble does, then she can do it. But if not, I'm here. I've got it.
Do it.
I'm
just
ready.
Do it, Jamada. Just run.
All right, let's roll. So, 18 minutes into the game, third dragons. I love talking about third dragons. Why do I love talking about third dragons? They are typically just tone setters for the rest of the game. And in this case, that's kind of exactly what it was. At the top, you can see 31,000 gold for Dusty, 34,000 gold for Galaxy Racers. That leaves them with about a 3,000 gold lead. Dusty, realistically, not in the greatest position to like contest this dragon, just on sort of gold alone. And the fight immediately kicks off. We get this really nice ultimate here from Rise to drop the Mega 9 to the backside, but he isn't able to initially get the R off, but then he does get some people up against the wall. But look at the top side of the fight. You already see Chelm is pretty much chunked out. He's got members asleep, and Legion is going to snap back to that Soul Unbound. But realistically, the two sort of main strong members of Dusty at this moment in time are kind of just separated away from the fight, whilst Svene and Kakan effectively zone away the remaining members of Dusty. And then eventually this does turn into a bit of a interesting scenario. I don't want to jump forward just in case I go too far forward, but then obviously we have the Jinnar gets dropped, members start having to retreat a little bit, but it's just a really ARAM-y scenario. There wasn't any crazy good fight for me to pick up here, but then Dusty and Hoyes feel like they're safe to come down into the river, but Kakan is the one that's retreated onto this side of the map, and then he picks up Hoyes, and then he gnaws back out after returning to his mini form. And then Galaxy Racers kind of just wipe the fight from here, and they're able to pick up the dragon off the back of this as well. And it just turns into a scenario where Dusty probably could have not contested this mid lane fight, or the dragon for that matter. It's only a Cloud Soul, and they probably could have just left this scenario and gone and traded gold somewhere if it was actually available, instead of opting into this negative fight.
Negative gaming.
Negative gaming,
is what we're talking about there. I think you have highlighted essentially one of the fights that really summed up the kind of the flavor of
The entire game?
Yeah, the entire game.
It's the flavor of the game. It was a fiesta. It was an absolute fiesta. There were fights left, right, and center. There was like the macro went out the window. It was just about who clicked buttons better.
I
And-
don't think the macro entered the window.
No,
Okay,
yeah,
Macro never got in.
Now,
Macro never got in the building.
If Macro wasn't in the building, how's it supposed to fly out the window, scoundrel? Okay, like.
Yeah, okay, Macro was not in the building.
Do we invite macro for game 2?
Yeah, well, you know, literally have to invite him. I hope we do because,
Yeah.
well, actually, you know, it's quite fun. It's quite a fun watching experience, watching stuff like that. Who can just click their buttons better than the enemy team? In that time round, it was basically Jakey can click his buttons really well, and everybody else just kind of plays around Jakey. But look, this is a series. We've got another 2 games potentially to go. Remember, if Galaxy Racer win this 2-0. They'll go through to the next series, which is our upper bracket series. If they win that, they're in the NLC. So if you win 2 series in a row, you are in the NLC. And obviously for Dusty, if they lose, they have to walk the long road back to a potential requalification spot. Let's go to a quick break. We'll come back. We'll be into our second draft.
Beyond the lover's bloodshot eyes, another ocean opens wide. Our love is sick but still alive. Then all our hearts would radiate and melt the sadness we create. Only then could we survive. Let's turn around before we drown. Singing this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Staring idly at the sky, love is almost passed us by. Still we watch it fade away, and all our prospects wearing thin. We don't know where to begin, or where we might have gone astray. We crave, we strive to feel alive. Singing this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Wait for tomorrow. Lay in sorrow. Along your waste. This is no fate. Singing hey, hey. This love is all around us. This love is all around us.
All right.
People stop. No. Stop eating your steaks raw. Scoundrel, just stop.
I
Stop.
I like rare steaks. Like I need to have them, like I call them French. I like have French style steaks, just basically blue.
Basically,
like, you know, like,
Scoundrel takes
he-
it out of his fridge and doesn't even put it in the pan.
I
That's
no,
what
no,
it
no,
is.
no, no. I literally, when I cook a steak, I heat the pan up. I put some. You got to put butter in, not oil. Butter is much better
Okay,
for cooking
okay.
your steaks. Melt some butter, heat up the pan, make sure it's hot. Slap the steak down for 2 seconds, turn it over for 2 seconds, just singe the edges, and then get it on the plate. That is actually how you eat a steak properly. I'm just saying. And that's the way I eat every single steak that I have. Okay, so that gives you some insight into what we talk about off air. Let's get back to the game as we are through the ban phase. It is Lucian, Rel, and Lilia for Dusty who have chosen blue side again. Tristana banned over on Galaxy Racer. Let's see what the first pick is.
Yeah, so Dusty have actually elected to ban away the Lilia this time, and Galaxy Racer actually just responded in kind by removing the Tristana that they removed in the last draft phase, so this has actually left Seraphine up. So Galaxy Racer is potentially testing Dusty on whether or not they'll first pick this champion. It's kind of strange because I think, what was the statistic? That Seraphine was basically 100% presence until playoffs in the NLC, and it appears to remain the same throughout relegations, as Dusty are pretty much just going to pick up Xayah first pick. They don't seem to have eyes on anything else. There's plenty of junglers still up. But Xayah, above all, seems to be what Dusty obviously want here for Hoy.
Actually, I have a quick stat for you guys because I was
Okay.
checking everything yesterday. I was playing a game with a friend and I went into every single league around the world and I saw the top 3 played champions. And then when I was done with like all the major leagues, I was like, oh, let's check the NLC. Seraphine is the 2nd most played throughout the entire split. So it's really, it would work here with Caitlyn as well, because Seraphine is a very oppressive support champion. So it falls sort of into the same line with the Lux, with the Karma, right next to the Caitlyn. Please, I really, really, really want to see an oppressive Caitlyn bot lane. It has to be an enchanter. You have to take control. You have to push tower, because from what we saw in the previous game, yes, Galaxy Racer ended up winning. The Caitlyn was like 0-3. She had no plates. She basically did not fulfill her role for what she's usually picked.
Yeah, she really didn't. Dusty, in a lot of places, kind of handing them freebies here as, okay.
Oh, not the
you're gonna get
Karthus
the Karthus
Nocturne.
for Chelm.
Not the Karthus
we could just-
Nocturne.
We could just see, so fortunately Nocturne's banned away, but what we could actually see
Oh,
is
yeah, right.
Legions just lock in his Yone again, if he feels like just securing another AD source so that Karthus can kind of exist as a sole AP. But okay, kind of deviating away from that wants the Rise. So definitely, I agree with that little ad-lib there, Trouble. It's certainly a bit odd to see Rise and Karthus paired together.
Odd to see Rise in general that early,
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
your name is Sahira, then you can
Yeah,
pick it.
you know,
But
it's
if
Sahira.
it's not, it's like,
Are we like suicide teleporting Karthus into the middle of a team fight?
Yes, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it could quite frankly be that. And Dragane in kind is just going to respond with a control mage. Now, because of this lock-in, it does mean that Galaxy Racer can remove away 2 top laners in kind. They've removed away Yone for now. And Dusty, I would imagine, try to remove away junglers, things that can actually give Karthus some kind of issue in the early game. You could see something like Nidalee removed away just because Nidalee can keep pace with the Karthus and then eventually sort of try and look for some invades. But for now, wants to take Jackie off that Graves. And after last game, I don't think there's any issue with that here.
I was
No,
about
not
to
at
say,
all.
I think there's way too many junglers that can do really well.
Yeah.
The Udyr is
Yeah.
still up and available. The
Oh,
Nidalee is
yeah.
still up and available. Something will stay up for Jakey to get, and it's going to be oppressive versus the Karthus, because Karthus is a very fragile jungler as well. Now, Coolbox and something in the chat I've been thinking about as well. And because the Arela was banned and the Yone was banned, I'm thinking, what if Flaxis grabs the Rise and puts himself
Oh,
into
yeah.
Reigns versus Reigns matchup
Okay.
into the Nah,
That's a
which
very
you have a
Flaxis pick
lot
as
of
well.
yeah, which you have a lot of wave clear for, which means that you do get to pressure the Nah in the lane as well. So please, Lux, Karma, Seraphine. I don't want to see nothing else. Oh, and maybe Morgana. I don't want to see nothing else.
Yeah, and I much like this order of champions that Galaxy Racer have actually selected for themselves, because now they have guaranteed they will get support counter pick, and that means that bottom lane should be far more successful than it was in the last game. Olaf here is a kind of whatever factor. If you've got bottom lane prior, you've got the Orianna, you should be able to secure a lot of dragons just off the back of that. So sort of jungle and bottom lane synergy there. In kind, Olaf loves dragon stacking. Bottom side prior is
Come
going to
on.
secure that. Let's see if this is going to be Rise top, because interestingly,
Karma,
Rise
Lux.
does Rise does pretty okay into NAR, so I'll be curious to see whether or not Legions is actually going to pick up a mid champion for himself, and this is going to be a flagship Rise instead. Something AD into the Orianna could certainly work, but
I mean, they're
let's
banning
see.
They banned Yone, so I think Galaxy Racer have a thought. Now
GP,
that's GP. Okay, so GP's top. That would be Legions with Rise mid, I assume. Then, so we have now the final support counter pick potentially for Galaxy Racer. What is up and available? Thresh is up and available,
Thresh,
by the way. Yeah, Thresh is up and available, and it did go all the way through to R5. This has been something that was frequently banned.
I'm
in
gonna be very
NLC.
upset. I'm going to be very upset.
Trouble just wants Lux.
Come
Trouble
on,
just wants
Lux,
Lux.
Seraphine, come on.
Trouble just wants an enchanter. Honestly, I think in this spot, specifically because you've got the Olaf there as well, an enchanter would feel really nice. I think you can run into some sort of issues where if the Alistar just forces your flash and then he's constantly got Hex Flash, you can run into some kind of 2v2 issues. So I don't necessarily mind the Galio because it can still very much gain lane priority with this Caitlyn through the Gust of War, and then also actually aid Olaf in diving with the Orm. So I'm actually not entirely opposed to this Galio pick in this slot.
My only issue here is that what the Galio is going to be providing here is probably shielding for the Karthus ultimate, and I'm also not necessarily quite sure with the Gangplank how it's going to act with the Karthus, because Karthus is sort of like an all-in kind of champion, and Gangplank wants to create space between his team and the enemy team and allow your ADC to play the game. But then Xayah is a little bit short range, so she needs to move closer, so the Gangplank ultimate would create a problem if Galaxy Racer want to kite back. So I feel like the synergy between the Dusty champions doesn't work to its fullest, and I will agree to disagree with Yamada here, because I feel like a Caitlyn lane having so much prior and Olaf being able to play for you bot lane should never like have any flash forced, especially from an Alistar Xayah, because they're both very short range, and a Lux Karma, Seraphine specifically, would have been very easy to punish that. And if you're low HP, you basically can't play the lane. This is literally what Caitlyn wants to do. But yeah, I don't know what to say. Again, it feels like Darcy this time don't have the upper hand in draft, but we'll see how it pans out.
One thing that has been clear throughout this series and the drafts is Jimada was correct when he said they play through bot lane. Galaxy Racer play through bot lane. They play through that Caitlyn lane. We'll see if we see dives this game. We'll see if actually Galaxy Racer can just straight up 2-0 Dusty. Let's hand it over to our casters and get into game.
I think that's one of the things that I've known and from following Monk for a fair amount of time now is Monk likes to just sit back and chill and then kind of show up to fights with like 3-4 items. But they are playing for him, and if they do continue to play for him, he can kind of accelerate that. If he does get put behind,
did they though?
He struggles.
Did they though? Because I feel like
No,
I feel like
actually,
when
I guess they didn't.
I
He kinda
don't
got
feel
clapped,
like they
didn't
did play through that bot lane. I think they played through the priority you had in the top side and around the mid lane, the skirmishes around Rift Herald. Then you happen to get Drake. And then when we hit that 10 to 15 minute mark, the skirmishes started happening down in bot side. But in all honesty, they just got solo killed, 2v2. That was the facts with Monk around this one. I don't think there's too much that's been playing around. I think they screwed up in a lane that was 2v2. And I think that's why they're saving the counter pick now here. The Galio into the Alistar is not the best lane when you start taunting. I mean, Alistar just comes in for the headbutt and bops you away. And there you need to time the Alistar, or you need to time the Galio stun if you want to stop the headbutt pulverize combo. But I think you have tools to play for as well. I like the global composition coming in from the side of Dusty, but what I'm lacking is that front liner that's going to run in with them. When we saw it in the LEC, when we see it in LPL, it is in conjunction with this Nocturne coming in, because you need something that can dive in and finish off the job when the Requiem is coming through. So I think you need to have a really fast clear split with the Karthus, try to play around this pressure that we saw the junglers had this battle between each other in the last game as well, and then see if you can make the skirmishes where you come out ahead and start getting that snowball so you can get to your objectives and start the snowball going from then.
Right, I have a little bit of bad news, guys. Unfortunately, there has been a technical issue over on our end, which means we do have to quickly do a quick remake of the lobby and restart some computers. We are going to throw to a quick break. When we're back, we'll be back with the game. I'm really sorry about this, but unfortunately, these things happen, and wouldn't be an online broadcast without everything setting on fire. We'll see you in 5 minutes.
its name. Forever couldn't come fast enough was the truth. It's in our youth. We'll make up the rules as we go. Get the nerve up and start the show. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go. Doesn't that feel a hell of a lot better than spite? Yeah, that's right. All my friends are asked to stay after class. What a gas. We'll make up the rules as we go. Get the nerve up and start the show. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go, get up and go. Get up and go, get up and go. We fall so hard to tend the gardens for strong and lonely hearts. The roofs are falling under the boughs left in the summer, striving to find places for cover. We can't look back. Breaking your backs and falling on the stone. Out on my own. This land of which we claimed, wash it from our hands. Don't flinch or move a mile. It's safer for the houses are proud. We'll live near the forest. Say all your prayers. Ears to the ground. We can't look back. Breaking your backs and falling on the stone. Out on my own.
What are you doing over there? Just chilling, waiting for some League of Legends to kick off? Well, I've got good news for you. Our Champ Select has almost concluded, and we are getting ready to go into our second game of this series between Galaxy Racer and Dusty. Now, keep in mind of the stakes right now. This is a double elimination relegation. So if Galaxy Racer win this, they will knock Dusty down into the lower bracket, and that is Last Chance Saloon. The winner of this will play the winner of Bifrost versus M&M, and that will be an automatic qualification into the NLC. The loser of that lane then pops down and loses. You play for the loser bracket and then you make it in. That's how it goes. There's 2 best of 3s today. This is obviously our first one. Our second one is going to be M&M versus Bifrost, and then tomorrow it is, I believe it's the upper bracket, right? I probably should have got that stuff right. I should have checked this stuff before. But we have the upper bracket, and then we'll have the lower bracket stuff following after that. So, bunch of League of Legends to come. And I think after this, it's all best of 5s as well. So, lots of really exciting games to get going. Now, we have loaded onto the Rift, and we are getting ready to go into this second game. Galaxy Racer honestly putting on a tremendous performance. Yeah.
What, is that
Take
the
it from
toss
there,
to me?
Goldborg.
Is that the toss to me? Yeah,
That's your toss.
Alright, perfect. I think the first game was not like the analyst desk hit on it a bit. It was definitely not the most macro-oriented game. There's a lot of skill check about it. I thought it was really entertaining. You could see that there was some insight to that they wanted to apply macro to the game and was like, all right, we're pushing in bot, we'll collapse on the top side, try to get that out of turret. But all of a sudden, Dusty panned up for a fight, and then the fight just breaks out. So both teams, in the beginning of the game, they're trying to go for macro, but they're just challenging each other with skill checks, and they're not going to back down because of that. And that's why we get these messy fight games that we've gotten so far. I wanted to say bloody games. I don't know. I just put fight in there, but we get fights in these games, Jake.
Okay. I have the update.
Okay. Okay.
So, this is tomorrow is our winners best of 5.
That's crazy.
That is the
That's
automatic
crazy.
qualification. If you win that, you're in the NLC. Then after that, it's the losers stuff. So Wednesday is the lower kind of first qualification stage on Wednesday, and then on Thursday it is the finals we have of the tournament at all, which is the lower bracket final, which would be the loser of the winners bracket versus whoever makes it through the other game in the losers bracket.
Are you
So,
casting on Wednesday, Jake?
Yes. No. Maybe. No. I don't know. It's been written down. There's a thing. I just show up, man. I don't know. I don't know when I'm casting and when I'm hosting. Anyway, back to this game. Action. Surprise.
The only reason I wanted to ask you this is because it's saying the losers match, so I was just thinking that you'd be casting it.
Oh. Why? Because my talents allow me to bring hype to the losers bracket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Always chunked out, by the way, while you're trying a poor attempt at an insult. And
It
that's
worked.
actually
I can hear you're hurt.
okay. I'll just cry in the shower after the show. I've lost my train of thought.
All right, let me
Genuinely
take
lost my
it for
train of
you. Let me take it for you. All right. So the taunt came in over from the side of Svenne, but Peterson wasn't in a position where he would actually come in for the headbutt. So he had to headbutt away the Caitlyn, but the damage was already coming through. The Pale Dota Peacemaker hit him while taunted, and the Galio passive auto attacks deal so much damage combined with the aftershock you get. So Hoyes was just forced to back in the early game. You can already see he suffered greatly on the CS department. 11 onto Monk, and I kind of want to see the state of the lane right now. It is a slow push that is being started towards Dusty, so they are going to still pick up farm nonetheless, but he has lost some CS and he has lost some experience, which is going to get this priority lane even more over to the side of Monk.
One of the things that we do we can see from looking at the map is the state of all of the lanes. Galaxy Racer on every lane has got a wave shoved in. Kakana's just gone for a reset, so that's why he's not in the lane, but he was shoving in the wave pretty hardly. And one of the things that is dangerous for Chelm is that makes him more susceptible to get invaded by this Olaf. Chelm on the Karthus kind of just wants to quick farm and avoid any interaction until he's got 6, really. Now, he has cleared his entire jungle, but Zeke already done a full clear, hasn't been on a base for himself, but has started up this bot lane crab. He may just beeline for that top lane crab as well, and then maybe look for a cheeky invade off the back of that. He's going to place a ward down in the chicken camp to see if he can see anything. And Legion's pushing this wave up here. Could be on the receiving end of a bit of love. The axes get flashed out, and that's going to force Legions to flashes. Trigane going to trade flash for flash and make his way back up towards that top side of the map. Won't have his smite though, while Chelm will, so might be a little bit harder for him to contest this one, although may look to do so as he spots out Chelm.
And really smart of him, actually throwing the undertow in there just before he walked in there. Still's got the ward while Chelm has gone for the sweep, but now Dragain, he is obtaining that mid lane priority. Top lane priority is coming through from the side of now, and I think Chelm, he just needs to back out of this one unless they want to hop into a fight for it.
I don't think this is a fight they want to be taking, though. The barrels are getting laid down. They've got the slows onto Chelm. He's already so low. Kakan about to gnaw out. Can he find that wallop in time, or is he going to die? Yes, he's going to go gnaw form. Everybody on the side of Galaxy Racers made their way over for this crab. A lot of low health buttons, a lot of summoner spells, but actually looks like Dusty, at the end of the day, are still going to walk away with the crab.
They even brought the supports up there as well. They really wanted that scuttle for the side of Chelm here. Now he gets to counter jungle as well. The reset was a bit later from the side of Jeske. He's actually not had one yet, and Chelm has. That means that he's more powerful in that skirmish. That's why they had to back off. He had that amplifying toll, while Olaf had no item whatsoever. So Chelm actually making the most out of it here and still getting a little XP advantage as well at the same time.
That was not what I expected to happen from all that. I thought they chunked out Dusty enough for them to get the crab, but honestly, Galaxy Racer losing out on that, and this is great for Chelm. Got himself that crab, got himself a jungle invade as well, got some chicken camp. Really nice stuff there for him.
Yeah, Jeske was actually really smart about it though. He said, alright, I need to clear my Grumps while they're still, or my Crocs while they're still level 2. I know that Chelm is going to clear out my Raptors, so I'll just reset after this and get the Wolf Camp them, and then I can try and come in for the invade if I want to, because bot lane is going to start having priority, then they'll go for the reset. Mid line priority have to come through, so if you're going to look for an early Drake, this is the wave you can do it for as well. So let's see what Galaxy Racer decides to do with the pressure now on the map, because nonetheless, the pendulum of wave pressure will swing back in the favor of Dusty, and they'll have to play to go for it. But they're actually freezing the wave right outside of the turret, and that's just going to prolong the priority you could get from the side of Dusty or from the side of Galaxy Racer. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Jeske just starting up Infernal Drake now.
It looks like the freeze has been broken now as it crashes into the tower, but like you said, that probably just bought them enough time for Jeske to finish up some of his camps and then pull over to Drain. He got lane shove. This is going to be first Dragon over to Galaxy Racer, a lot earlier than we did see in that first game. A lot slower to pick up that Ocean Drake, which was the first Drake. And now it's just back to the farming game.
Yeah, and that's the thing though, like we say it's a farming game, and it is so from the side of the laners here. They're just trying to go and get the plates from the priority, but this is two teams where you can already tell that their driving point as a team is the jungler. That's why they're fighting for the pressure. It's so they can put the bot laners up, the supports up to fight for a top scuttle. It's so you can come in and get the counter jungle for the Raptors. It's so you can get the priority for these strikes. Like a lot of the early game from Galaxy Racer and from the side of Dusty is going to be about the junglers, and I think that's going to be a part that we're going to continuously see throughout the series if Dusty is able to take this back as well, because they are two teams with star junglers on their roster.
Yeah, they really are. Jeke had amazing game number 1 on the Graves. I think it was 12-3 or 12-4 was his kill line at the end of that game. Honestly, he had amazing performance. So far, did get that invaded by Chelm, and all that action, didn't really find too much from the back of it, but is now looking to have a sniff around in Chelm's jungle. His wolves are spawning up fairly soon, and Jeke will find him. He's going to miss the undertows. The Wall of Pain's going to get thrown down, and Jeke just dodging away from Chelm. Has got Dragain in his pocket, though, if he really wanted to overextend, as Monk's been jumped onto by Pedersen, and looking for that turnaround. There's the cannon barrage, the Requiem in the hill, the flash, everything thrown down, and Flaxish getting chunked out pretty heavily by Kakan. As it looks like the response for all this attention being put bot lane is Jeke's going to turn into the Rift Herald and pick that one up for his team.
Yeah, and once again, it's just about the junglers again. This is going to be the Rift Herald going down for them. They had the priority with Dragain pushing in. Chelm's actually going up here to try and see if he can stop him, but there's no priority from the top side. Nara is active for Kakan, so they need to be careful if they opt in for a gauge here. Legion still no flash on him yet, so I don't think they can opt in for this fight.
Yeah, I think they're just going to have to give this one up, and that's going to be the case. Jeke able to pick up the Rift Herald. We saw Chelm get it in the first game and use it to very limited success. Didn't use it where he wanted. Ended up having to kept dying basically when they tried to place it down. So we'll see where he decides to throw it down. They may look like they might be looking to jump to Legions. Like you said, no flash available quite yet. It's about to come back up, but caught by the Justice Punch, caught by the Shockwave and the Taunt. Legions has still got that flash and gets a nice amount of movement speed off as Pedersen actually buys a bit of space, and Sven actually taking a lot of damage in response, but Legion's able to survive, and Dragain able to chunk him out. A lot of mid lane pressure now afforded to the side of Galaxy Racer. And they're now just making a beeline towards this bot lane.
Oh, Pedersen could be caught here. Chelm does spot Jesk out now, so fight's gonna break out.
He's got that Ragnarok though, and he is trying to put the damage in, but he is getting slowed down. He is getting chased over, has to flash the wall. Monk goes in with a 90 count neck and gets caught out by the feathers. Hoist just juggling around this fog of war so beautifully and finds himself first blood. Classic Monk.
That is just classic Monk there. Completely tunnel visions onto the kill. He can get onto the Carters. Caliburnet's forward. No flash from the exchange he had in the fight bot lane earlier. And it seemed like a bit of a miscommunication. I think you could have abused the pressure a bit more from the side of the Galaxy Racer replay coming in. So Jackie went down here after he's gotten the priority in the mid lane. And I think you can go down here with your Orianna if you want to as well. You can go in here to try and get some counter jungling down with the vision you get out from the priority in bot lane. But they've rushed the play a bit too much. And Monk just coming in being too overextended, greedy for the kill as well, and that's unlucky. It could have been an exchange where it's just, oh, I overstepped, I'm just gonna flash out. Instead, it turned out to a first blood for Hoist out of nowhere.
That was, and the thing is, Jekka actually was out. It was just,
Yeah, that's the thing.
we have a production chat, and Jamada, in his words, this isn't me. That was the most Monk thing I've seen in a while. And let's be real, that kind of was pretty Monk. Just 90 count netting into Fog of War. But still has pressure in his lane, still has a CS lead. Now, meanwhile, in the top side, Flaxish Kakan having a bit of a scrap here as the Wallop is going to get jumped away from, as Flaxish now getting jumped into. Dragain will look for this kill with the Clockwork wind up.
Yeah, Flash is coming in to secure it. Don't know if it's necessary, but either way, he gets the kill coming into it. 20 seconds onto the Drake, and a bot lane fight breaks out here for the pressure, but I think with the reset coming down from the jungle of Galaxy Racer, with mid lane being picked up by Dragain and Shockwave still being availability, you just go for the pressure now again, and you just try to control this area around Drake. Both top laner is going to have TP available. I think we're going to get a fight out from this Drake right here.
Oh, we are. The taunt's going to land onto two. Zvene already chunked out, but Pedersen looking for the headbutt pole. The ignite's been thrown down onto Monk. Hoyes is trying to put the damage into Zvene. Gets him with a feather storm, but he's picked up in response by Kakan. Chelm chunked out heavily. Meanwhile, as the fight continues to break out topside, Chelm will just about survive. Pills over Pacemaker, making it a little bit too wide. Kakan flashes forward. Chelm reactive flashes as well, and the Wall of Pain will slow Kakan down as he loses his life. Galaxy Racer ultimately lose the fight, but they still gain the dragon.
It just feels like that's the only way they're getting kills from the side of Dusty. It's just Galaxy Racer flashing themselves in there to sacrifice their bodies for whatever reason, but they get the Drakes, so 2 Drakes onto the side of Galaxy Racer, and they're still keeping the snowball going. They will still have priority, but they'll need to be worried about all the gold they're giving over to the side of Dusty. I don't know if you can actually see where the gold is spent right now. You can see, okay, actually 80 carries being completely even. Obviously, Hoy's been sown out a lot. In the mid lane, though, Legions with this rise here, he is definitely the guy we need to be careful of from the side of Dusty, because he's going to hurt. We saw what Galaxy Racer did before, but now, Galaxy Racer with this Rift Herald try to popping some plates down at the spot side, try to get more gold onto the side of Monk while they still can.
Chelm is in the area, but I don't think they're going to be able to take this out in time, although they are doing a lot of damage to it. Not moving up in time as the charge is going to come down, and Galaxy Racer just were not ready for the players. Legion's getting jumped onto, forces Legions to flash away, but I just place the Rift Herald a bit closer, clear the wave, and make sure that charge works. So both of these teams kind of inting their first Herald.
Yeah, I don't know if it was running out. Perhaps it was, because I'm pretty sure they knew how to use their Rift Herald, but yeah, it's just one of those scenarios where the skirmish was too long around the Drake. All of a sudden, you come back and you're just like, oh, wait, my Rift Herald is about to pop, and then you just pop it in the bot lane, try to get something out of it. So once again, neutral objective around the Rift Herald not really being put to its full potential for the side of both teams. But nonetheless, they still have got a lot of plating. They still have a lot of pressure to play for. And going towards this next Rift Herald, hopefully you can use it to open up mid lane for either side. It is getting kind of low for the side of Dusty. So I think the next objective, if you are Galaxy Racer, would be get the priority, put your bot lane towards the top side, and start playing for Rift Herald when it spawns. Because there is still 3 minutes onto the side of Mountain Drake will spawn. And after that, you can have your bot lane down there again. Or even in the mid lane. That would be a great choice as well.
Zene maybe getting caught out by this ward. The Winds of War actually do reveal Hoyes. So they know he's in the bush. They don't know about Pedersen, though. He was not spotted out. They are just looking to shove out this wave. I think they can probably smell that there is a cow in the area. And neither bot lane resetting yet. Boy is going to catch this wave, and it is going to be Galaxy Racer who are first to the punch. And now looking to zone Flaxish off his own tower. As Legions can get a bit of free time here, but has to be careful as there's a Galio fishing about. We'll spot him out as he gets the taunt off onto Legions. Legions take a little bit of damage, but nobody really about to make sure that they can find a kill in response. And it looks like Riftel's going to get done without the bot laners even being needed, as Kakan has been able to afford his team enough pressure in the top side of the map. 3 members now bot side. Monk is doing Monk things. He's getting caught. Requiem's going to get thrown out. The Featherstorm's going to be enough. And that is one dead Caitlyn.
Once again, skill check coming through. Monk with the flash and heal, feeling pretty confident that he can put up with whatever Dusty's going to throw at him. But once again, his pride is costing him his own life for the 2nd time in a row. And I don't know, for the 4th time in the series. So, topside come through with a cross map instead, though.
Yeah, then that is going to be a quick kill. They have that Herald to use as well, so they can take the tower. Maybe take 2 towers if they're quick enough on it. Dusty just going to shove this wave in and then look for a potential death brush, as Chelm is also in the area, but will be spotted out.
And Jake, riddle me this. What is the Rift Herald going to be used for this time?
Mid lane. Mid lane, definitely.
Great, great. Is it going to be used in time?
I hope it's used effectively, yes. Otherwise, I have some real big worries about Galaxy Racer doing Rift Herald. They might as well just not even bother.
But you know, there's going to be a long time for the next NLC anyway, so you got time to perfect the Rift Herald plays. We can see that they got the mechanics in fights. Maybe they just need some clear, calm shot calling to come through and objective setup to really just put the last, what do you say, thingy in the coffin for around the mark. Thank you so much. I can always count on you, Jake.
Coffins held together by thingies. Doesn't able to attack their way on the chickens, annoying to Chelm, but that's okay.
And you can see they are trying to set up for it here, but
It's better. I'm not going to say it's good, but it's better. In fact, it might have been bait. Here comes the Galio slamming into the ground. And the charge is not enough to kill the tower.
so there's still 10 seconds onto the Mountain Drake, but I think they've rushed to play a bit. You can see they had priority into the bot side, so they could just wait for that, but now they're just going for a full-blown fight in the mid lane.
Yeah, Kakan's going to get rooted up. The Ace in the Hole is going to connect onto Pedersen. Teleport's coming in as well. This is all 5 members, although remember, Requiem and Cannon Barrage are on cooldown. Same for Featherstorm. Shockwave, Grand Entrance, and Ace in the Hole are down, but they do still have that Gnar. They do still have that Ragnarok. And Caitlyn very good on a mountain map where there's even fewer points to work through. Placing down those traps, just making it impossible to go into this dragon. And maybe Flaxish with a Miracle Barrel still. You have to chain them if you're going to try that one. We're going to be able to find it.
You almost had it. You almost had it. Even if you did have it, it was going to be a long stretch of him actually stealing it. But, you know, you got to respect the attempt coming into it. What I think is mind-blowing, Jake, is just the fact that you were counting ultimates before that Drake fight even came out. And they had no ultimates because they've just been fighting for priority around the mid lane. But once again, like Rift Herald, I think you could have waited for Monk to come up here for really getting that mid Rift Herald down. But either way, the turret is so low that it's only about one more wave you push into the mid turret, and you are going to open it up.
I love that last game, Monk went Kraken Slayer. This game is the shield bow. I would like to joke that it's because he's been getting caught out, but realistically, when you're playing into the things like the Carthus and stuff, that shield bow is actually really effective in keeping you alive. So I actually think it's quite a smart buy, looking at the enemy comp. And there's not so many tanks this time, so you don't really need that Kraken Slayer to be able to cut through them. As Kakan hops forward and then Stride Breakers backwards. Shockwave lands into 2 by Dragain, though they don't quite have that Gnar. Hoys jumping in forwards. The taunt's not going to be quite enough, but the Justice Punch catches him on the response. And now it is Kakan who's taken out in response. Chelm gets the shutdown, thanks to that Lay Waste and Dark Harvest.
Can they get more, though? I just get some Dark Harvest stacks. I suppose that is that's something, but you got to think, what are you losing at the same times? Because I think Flashes, he's just freezing towards that top side while Kakan is just dead and tried to start a fight in the mid lane, and they're still going.
They are still going. This tower's going to lose his life, and the Everfrost is going to root Zeke down, and he has to pot the Ragnarok because the trap lands into Legions, but Monk misses out on the 90 cal, so doesn't get all of the extra damage off. And a Herald used mid by Galaxy Racer, but they still don't crack that tier 1 first. It is going to be Dusty who wants her out.
And listen, I would like to get some pretty nice lane assignments here with the bot lanes in the mid lane, with the either TP target you want towards the top side, preferably the Gnar into the GP where you can withstand that lane, and perhaps having that Orianna towards the bot side as we're seeing right now. Play around the pressure you get from the Caitlyn. Use that pressure, get into the jungle, get vision, go back, push more waves, and wait for the enemy to make a mistake, because both teams right now are so trigger happy that you are guaranteed to make a mistake, because you're just shooting so many targets right now that you're shooting pedestrians every now and then. Like, it's going wrong for them, is what I'm saying.
Kakan and Flaxish having a fight. Flaxish losing pretty hard in this one. Uses that Tangerine, but gets knocked into the wall. Kakan doesn't get the stun. Oh, no. Boulder Toss not going to be enough. And now, Kakan is going to get himself 4 members chasing him down, and he's able to buy a lot of time, to be fair, but the Hyperprocs there, Pedersen able to find him with the CC, and Chelm's on a killing spree. All the while, mid lane tower, bot lane tower full, and Galaxy Race able to shove in a little bit more into these towers, and as a Caitlyn with a fair amount of attack speed and those headshots can actually do a lot of damage to these towers. Not enough to kill it, but just enough to be in a more irritating place. As Jurgen just over half health there, mid lane turret, their bot lane turret as well. So I think, honestly, Kakan, okay with the fact he died there. Probably shouldn't have been caught out that deep, but
You know what?
at the end of the day, his team do gain stuff off the back of it.
That's what we call a good death. It's fine. Like, they invest so many resources. You get so much free from the other side of the lane. Dragon, Monk gets the turret almost, gets it very low, and you get the priority around the Drake. Like, you can look at the vision right now around the Drake. All that is in the side of Galaxy Racer, and this bot lane, or this top lane, is going to just be pushed out again. You still have the TP, so just send Kakan up there, get the standard lane assignments up again, and start playing around that priority that you just got on the map. When you get that priority, just play for the last Drake. You know that Dusty's coming in for the fight, so just set yourself up for the best position possible.
Remember, this is Mountain Soul for Galaxy Racer. Something that really actually makes Chelm's life a little bit harder, those shields. The extra resistances, just stopping the Requiem from potentially executing people like Monk and Dragain. Stopwatch not been finished up for Dragain yet, so it doesn't have the ability to Zonya's versus that as well. There is a flank getting set up by Zeke though, moving through the red side jungle, going the long way around. There's a pink ward already there, and he's got the sweeper out, so he knows he's unseen. They're just going to ace in the hole onto Flaxish. Ooh! That's a lot of damage into Gain. He's actually just dead. Got him in Shockwave in time. Pedersen being a real irritant here. Knockout's going to land onto Pedersen. Monk completely untouched as the barrel is going to not do enough damage. And now Monk going up versus Hoyes, but the Wall of Pain, the feathers are going to get used. And Monk, that shield bow will not keep you alive.
There's just so many low HP bars right now, and it comes down to the pressure. Like, there's a possibility for you to just come in through the bot side and establish that vision, but Dusty, they're just first on the trigger. And once again, Monk, I don't know if his flash got to be up again, but he dies with the flash. And the same goes for the Orianna here. Shockwave's still up and available. These fights are just not being played out perfectly.
They don't care. They're just flashing forward. Are they going to be able to steal it away? The Dragon is secured for Galaxy Racer, and they get a couple of kills in response. They will lose their lives, but Kakan's able to jump away. Dragain making his way, and Shockwave goes wide. And that is the power of that Mountain Soul shield, keeping Svene and Kakan alive. Absolutely worth if you're Galaxy Racer, and absolutely terrible fumble for Dusty.
I cannot believe that. You can clearly tell that they were not in control of that play. Jeski just coming in with the flash. Ragnarok still up and available. He doesn't even participate in the fight yet, so there's no way it was going to actually matter. Now, back to the mid lane fight here. Dragain actually not having his flash up yet, so that's on my bat here. But Monk being caught up by the Alistar stun as well, trying to stabilize the situation with the Galio coming in here. But the problem for them was that Jeski at the same time was trying to establish pressure towards the bot side. In his mind, they're setting up the Drake. And there, meanwhile, he was doing that. Well, they just went on. And now, Flash up and available because he never participated in that fight. So he never had to use his Ragnarok. They don't one-shot him. The Drake goes down and they get the Drake. So now, back onto the game, back onto the map, what we're going to see now. Carters absolutely hate playing into Mountain Souls. The fact that they get extra resistance, the fact that they get a bit of shield is just so annoying for you when you want to pop that Requiem. So that's a great Drake soul for Galaxy Racer to pick up against the composition of Dusty.
It does make his life so much harder. Level 13 on this Carthus, so hasn't got that level 16 full points in the Requiem yet. And now Legions is getting sniffed out by Galaxy Racer, but this is more a warding mission from Jeke and Svene. So they'll spot out some of these wards with this Sweeper. Sweeper?
I like it.
It's like a dog toy. Dragain just, that was a zoning shockwave.
Okay,
He didn't
I
miss.
might be caught out here though in the middle, no flash.
Yeah, I mean, you have that mountain shield, but you're not going to be able to survive 5 members of Dusty all on your own lonesome. And Kakan, honestly, not had a particularly great game in game number 2. Consistently getting caught out.
And it is, you can just, like, it's just these fumbles that's making this situation a bit hard. Like, you should just be setting up for the Baron right now. You should be focusing on getting the vision onto it, start having that priority in lane, and start baiting out these fights that you can get. But now it's a 5v4 situation, and Dusty, they're starting up this Baron, but they have no one to tank it. Chelm is already so low.
He's just got chunked out so hard. Dragain doesn't have that shockwave, however, but massive zoning from the Galio. Hoyes has to use the ulti if the Requiem's going to come down, but the health bars on Galaxy Racer are still pretty okay. Monk gets engaged onto. Dragain's able to keep him alive, though, with a great turnaround. Dragain going low, gets the shield off, and the teleport's coming in. Kakan's rejoining this one as he's going to jump over the wall, jumps into onto Legions, gets 1 kill with that hyper proc. The barrels won't slow him today, and Kakan going 1 versus 4 as he gets the Gnar off. Jeke slides forwards, and Flaxish is going to get run down. 1 more undertow, 1 more builder toss will be enough to get himself the kill. Galaxy Racer. It is just constant action in this game, in this series.
Yes, but crucially, the Olaf falls in the end anyway, so with TP still being up for Legion, like, if they do not melt this in 20 seconds, Legion is just going to TP back in for this one, and they are spotted right now under Scuttle, so the rest of Dusty could come up and try and stop them here. Remember, Jungler is dead. That means no smite. That means no secure onto this Drake. Or Baron, rather.
Yeah, remember, it's not the Kraken Slayer, Caitlyn, so you're not doing quite as much damage to it, so it's not as quick, and
TP.
it's only 2,000 health. I think this is too risky for them to commit for. Legions is making his way over, but they're going for it. The Baron is going to be taken.
No.
It's stolen away. Oh, no, it's stolen away by Badurson. He actually did steal it. What? You just had the Baron. Galaxy Racer.
Pause,
You
guys,
just
pause,
had
pause,
the Baron
pause,
stolen
pause.
away. There's a pause. We'll find out what that's about. But you just had the Baron stolen away by a goddamn Alistair. What are you doing? Why risk that? Just walk away.
Oh, I mean, I guess they just really want to be in the NLC, and they're just overforcing plays that's not going to work. But it's just as I said, like, you're not going to get this Baron down in 20 seconds. TP is going to come through from Legions, but what I thought was that it was going to be Legions that got into that pit. But no, out of all the people you have on the Rift, it's that bloody cow that gets in there and literally steals it.
I thought
with a
Legions stole
headbutt
it.
pulverize.
I saw that Legions had the ring on him, so I was like, oh, they actually stole it. And I just assumed the Rise did enough damage to steal it, because that made sense to me. But a pulverize from an Alistair legitimately just stole Baron Nashor.
I mean,
But that's in a real MVP right now for Dusty.
It's just like, he really wants to stay in the NLC. Like, he is not letting bad team fights and macro being the death of them. He gets in there, he takes control of the situation, and he just straight up steals that Baron like it's nothing.
I just got an update that apparently that was a 267 damage pulverize that stole that Baron. So that was how close it was. Imagine if you had that Kraken Slayer. It could have been very different, but you know, the shouldas would have could.
Weren't you the guy just like
No, I made
5
sense.
minutes ago?
I still think shield bow is the better one, but like I was saying, Kraken Slayer means you kill the Baron quicker, but you don't have that. You have the shield bow, so this
Right,
Caitlyn's
but
not doing as much damage.
From my
so that's
point
why
of
you can't
view,
do it.
it just sounds like you're like, oh, for this specific situation, you should have gone this, and this, you should have gone this. I feel like you're just nitpicking just to prove him wrong.
I am just nitpicking to prove him wrong. I've honestly been very impressed by Galaxy Racer. I have not been impressed by Monk in this series at all. 0-4 in the last game, 0-3 in this game. Like, Monk is not having a particularly great series. He's got Kakan and Zheke honestly playing incredibly well, though. I think these two players are the players that have really impressed me from Galaxy Racer. Obviously, Kakan, if you've been following the European scene, especially the UK scene, he's been around for a little while. So, he's a player we know, but it's even so, just consistently good. And honestly, a really, really good series from him so far. But, we can still be going for more. This is a best of 3. And with the fact that Baron was stolen away, a lot of momentum that Galaxy Racer have slowly started to accumulate for themselves is going to be slowed down now. And the gold lead is 3,000 in favor of Dusty. It doesn't feel like this game's actually got a 3k gold lead. We haven't mentioned it, and I've only just noticed it. To me, it feels like this gold lead is a lot closer than it is. That was the worst time for me to stop talking when you go
I was just really thirsty. I've been it's been some long days with playoffs as well, but I just think that Baron was so needed for them as well, because it just looked like replication of the game we just saw earlier. Galaxy Racer gets the Soul, they get the Baron, and they start closing out the game. But this time, when you get the Baron, you get more time to actually overcome these resistances you get with the Baron or with the Mountain Soul. Because Mountain Soul is one of those things that with the more items you get, because usually you build more damaging items rather than actually resistance items, unless you're a tank. So these resistances are going to mean less and less and less the longer we get into the game, because Dusty is going to have more items to break through those resistances. They're going to have the Rise, they have the Gangplank, they have the Carters, they have the scaling on their side as well. So the fact that you buy yourself 3 more minutes at least, or 5 more minutes with this Baron buff is absolutely monumental if you want to take back this game.
Yeah, it's really big steal there for Dusty. Not only did it look flashy, but like you said, it just buys time. And when you've already got that gold lead and you get yourself a little bit more time, these fights that have been very close suddenly don't become so close. It gets to a point where it's going to be really hard for Galaxy Racer to deal with the likes of Dusty. When it's like, because the 3,000 gold lead, it's big, but at this point in the game, it's not game changing. But a 6,000 gold lead, that's when we start to go, okay, this starts to get almost unplayable for Galaxy Racer with, the fact that you got the scaling from the Carthus and the Gangplank. I mean, the Dragon fight that started off before this started off the back of a Gangplank barrel half healthing the mid. So it just, honestly, solid stuff. We'll have to see how it pans out, though. The pause is ongoing, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, because we can take this further, Jake. We can take this further. I want to see as well. Like, it's just gonna come down to these small fights every now and then, because it's from these two teams, from what we've already experienced, I can tell you, it's not gonna come down to them suddenly going like, okay, let's set up the lane assignment for the 1-3-1 here, or let's collapse with the vision we've acquired in the bot side with some vision and pink wards. It's gonna be more like, okay, I can get a pick onto this guy. I have flash now. Let's go in, and just go for that fight. Whoever gets to be on the winning side of that small fight, funnily enough, probably gets to take the game, because that's what we just saw. They just keep on fighting, even if it's a losing fight, they'll still fight, and that's kind of what you need them to bait them into.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of don't have anything else to add to that. I think we talked a lot about it.
Where do you want to go now? Where are we taking this? What's the we've had loads of different talks and pauses. We've talked about Japan. I think we've talked about some of your favorite animals. Like where are we taking this?
We've not talked about our favorite animals. We've talked about that off air. I know.
Oh yeah.
Yours
okay.
is a beaver. Mine's an otter. We actually literally had that conversation a minute ago. I don't think we've ever spoken about that on air. Otters are great. When I was in Japan, funnily enough, I held hands with an otter. It was amazing.
You held hand, was it? What?
Yeah. They have otter cafes, and you can feed them. And I put my hand out, and then
what? I knew they had cats and dogs and stuff like that, but otter cafes?
They have hedgehog cafes. They have pig cafes. The otter one was the best one. That was genuinely amazing.
Wait. I'm curious about the pig cafe. What's that about?
But they're like micro pigs.
Yeah. Oh,
it's just
yeah.
micro pigs
Okay.
in a cafe. Like full-size pigs at a cafe would just stink. I don't know if you've ever been around pigs.
That's
what
I was thinking when you
pigs
said
really
it.
smell. They are not pleasant. My auntie has a farm, and yeah, pigs smell. It's why I don't like horses, because of that farm. I got headbutted by a horse once.
Oh my god, I didn't get headbutt, but my mother's sister had a horse riding school where she owned a lot of horses and stuff like that. So we went to visit her. We would go riding horses as well. So I rode horses when I was younger. As
Same.
yeah. So, but one of those horrible
hate 'em.
experiences I had was I went out to ride, and all of a sudden the horse that it just didn't want to do anything. So with me on top, it literally just sat down on all four legs, and then it just like. And just, it just went down with me,
It
and my leg got stuck. I almost broke my leg because the horse is so fat. So my leg was just stopped there, and they had to pull me out. It was an absolute horrible experience. I don't think I've ever gotten back on a horse ever
hate
since that
horses.
the horse was
I
laid down.
Absolutely
They're
despise
scary.
horses.
They're so scary. Like when you go behind them, those legs, like they can just kick the out of you. I stopped myself.
You stop
but-
yourself. You stop yourself. But you're right. They are. Horses are. What do they say? What do they say in Sherlock Holmes? They are dangerous in the front and back and scheming in the middle, or something like that. They are. I hate horses. My sisters are both horse people. One of my sisters works at a stables still, so they're both like really into horses, and they both own horses as well. And they don't like. Most of the time, the person that feeds them is my dad, and I'll go with him occasionally because it's like a nice evening walk to go to the horses. And the other day I went. And I'm standing in like the corner of the field, and one of the horses, the bigger one, is really easy to spook. Like he just freaks out at nothing. And the other one's just a little turd. That's without saying what you were about to say. It's such a scheming little bummer. And it decided to spook the other horse deliberately to scare it towards me. And it jolted really quickly, and then the other horse just ran at me, this massive bloody horse. I've genuinely never feared for my life like that. It was genuinely horrifying.
Did you self-defecate?
No, but the worst thing is that horse, like it's got two colored eyes, and one of those eyes is like this really, really light, almost white blue with like a ring, and it looks kind of like demonic. And this eye was just coming at me. Yeah. Very close to self-defecating, I'm not gonna lie. And then me screaming as the horse ran at me, going, ah, like that, freaked the horse out more, so it sped up. Goddamn hate them. I don't know.
What happened
They're
then?
the worst.
How did it stop? Like, did it just
It
calm
turned away
down
last
before it
minute.
hit you, or what oh, yeah, okay.
It turned
Oh.
away last minute.
I guess we can talk about League of Legends as well if you want to.
Well, there's no Hecarim in this game, so
That's kind of true.
that's good.
There's a cow, on the other hand.
I almost got trampled
By a
a
cow?
horse the other day, and cow trampled the Baron. So we have a little replay of that.
This is just disaster. Let's see those infamous 267 HP coming in for it. Up. It gets taken at 115. Like, Shockwave was even up. Nabar was up. You could have timed it with a Caitlyn headshot. I think you had loads of possibilities to actually turn that coin flip, that percentages to watch yourself there with the odds. But yeah, in the end, you just decided not to. And Alistar, MVP, as we said, steals it against the map pressure back onto the side of Dusty and the gold lead now as well, even though Galaxy Racer is sitting comfortably with a soul. That's going to make matters interesting when Elder Drake is spawning in less than 1 minute, Jake.
Yeah, and that could really turn these team fights. They've already been fairly explosive and fairly bursty. But Durston has just done an amazing job of sitting on Monk and just shutting him down. Every time Monk tries to team fight, he just has a cow up in his grill, and there's nothing he can do about it. He just gets completely zoned out of every fight. So Pedersen, honestly, has had an amazing, amazing game so far. You can see the gold graph over time. It's been pretty up and down, but mostly Dusty favored. As a cool little fact for you, cows kill more people yearly than sharks do.
I think there's a lot of animals that do that. Sharks don't actually kill that many people, but in the mid lane though, they're trying to kill dinosaurs instead.
Well, apparently birds kill dinosaurs. Not going to be able to do so as able to get away. This Baron though is just giving constant pressure over to the side of Dusty, and Galaxy Racer struggling to even step forward to deal with this, but they are clearing out this vision slowly, and they have a little kind of foothold as far as the vision goes. We just can't find them a little bit of space.
I have all the priority towards the bot side. You can see there's no waves being pushed out there, so if you want to, you could create a pathway throughout your blue side jungle and try and get into there, but the problem is that it's always going to be a choke point, so it wouldn't surprise me just to see Dusty start up this Elder Drake soon and wait for Galaxy Racer to get in there. But Kakan almost having that Gnar back up, no flash, but ultimate is available for him. And I think we're going to be looking at the final fight of this game so far, Jay.
I think this is going to decide game number 2. Kakan Narbar wearing low. If he can't find his opportunity, this could be time having to get bought by Galaxy Racer. And Kakan's going to time out on the Gnar. Not what they needed. Jeke trying to get a bit of a flank opportunity to throw a nuisance onto Hoys and Legions. Hasn't been spotted out yet. Mid lane Pryor actually being bought for the moment by the Oriana. And Jeke's making his way through the Ragnarok Song. They've got the Galio coming in. A slam landing onto multiple members. Hoys has to use the Feather Storm as they've already got themselves a kill on the Flashes. But Durson zoned away. And this time, Monk is untouched. He's unanswered for. The slam by Kakan locks down 2 and gets another kill for Galaxy Racer. Hoys is so low and he slams in one more time. Shut down for Kakan. He is taken out in the response by Chelm. But the Elder has been started by Jeke and Monk, and it's only 2 members of Dusty to try and stop this. Chelm
Nice
has
for
got
Chelm.
full health. He does have that flash. He's going to jump in, but already chunked out, and he is going to lose his life. That's the secure. Legion's burning low, and that is the gift of the Elder, securing the kill. Galaxy Racer get themselves Elder, get themselves the team fight, take Baron off the side of Dusty.
And once again, it was so goddamn messy, but Jake in the jungle with the sweeper just patrols all the way around. He's not even spotted once. And when he gets in behind them, the absolute banger team fight starts for them when Svenne comes in with the Galio ultimate as well. Beautiful start from Galaxy Racers to secure them that fight. And here we will see it again. Take a look onto Jake. Come in from the back line here, and with the Ragnarok come in, there's nothing stopping him. This is just absolutely huge. And while there is flash up from the side of Flashes, the error is just so big for him that even if he does flash, he's still gonna get knocked up. And that was the beautiful thing about that fight. Now, Peterson tries to come in and stop it with a headbutt pulverize, but gets stunned mid pulverize or mid headbutt as well, and that just not make the situation easier. And crucially this time around, their jungler is still alive, and now with the cow dead, they don't have to worry about a steal, because we all know that that cow is better at stealing objectives than Shell has been so far this game.
I mean, Jeke has even been
Stats
able to
don't
secure
lie.
a dragon, the one dragon they went for, so... Oh, Chelm flashed onto a trap! That's what happened! Oh, I wonder how he took so much damage so quick. I assumed it was just like a natural headshot, but it was the trap headshot from Monk. Beautiful.
And with this, it is a best of 3. It's not over for Dusty. There is obviously the losers bracket that they'll be going down to if they were to lose this game, but this is definitely looking dire for them. Lanes are being pushed in from the side of Galaxy Racer, 4 in the top side, 1 in the middle, and the Gift of the Elder is active for them here, Hitbrain. So that means that whenever a fight is to break out, they should have the advantage. They have the Mountain Soul as well, so it just to make matters worse from the side of Dusty, I don't know how they can find a fight that will actually benefit them now.
Yeah, the inhibitor in the top lane will crumble. There's a large wave crashing in. Kakan is just dealing with this mid wave as he's waiting for his wave to come and help him. And it looks like they are just going to step away with the Baron spawning up in 3 seconds time. Dusty just kind of on wave clear duty. You do have a gangplank, so waves do just liquefy to him.
Yeah, but it's going to be, you're going to need much more than that. And maybe that is what you need towards the end of the fight. Like, there is 3 items from the side of Gangplank. You almost have 4 from the side of Hoist. A perfect fight can still net you this game, or at least give you some leverage to get back into it. But it's just so tough. The levels are not even in your favor. You gain level 17, Legions 15, Chelm 15, Jaiski on that 16 as well. So it's just gold deficit, level deficit, an item deficit, buff deficit. They have everything they need right now from the side of Galaxy Racer to close out this game and put them 1 step closer to the NLC.
1 step closer. Can they do it? Dusty, really not how they wanted to start the relegation tournament. Getting 2-0'd by one of the newcomers. However, they can still pull it back. Galaxy Racer, though, 4,000 gold up. This is the first time they've been up all game long. They've been down versus Dusty at every opportunity. And now, Ace in the Hole is going to connect onto Durson, not Chelm. Got Kakan off in the top, in the mid lane, bot lane, sorry, pushing out this wave. The 4 members of Galaxy Racer grouping up mid side.
this is where it gets tough. You can see 9 that bot side coming in with the Baron buff as well, trying to time it. They go for the fight, they need to.
Yeah, but Monk's able to jump away already, and Pedersen is so low. The barrel's going to connect the shockwave onto 2. Kakan coming in, and here is the Requiem. Not going to be enough to finish anybody off as Kakan actually jumps over the wall. Looking like a complete Chad. So now just will turn this in to the bot lane tower. Can they turn it into the inhibitor? They have the wave to work with, so realistically, this is going to become an inhibitor. Mid lane in tower also under fire from Monk, who's actually getting soloed by Hoys, although I don't know who's soloing who. Once again, Pedersen, they're playing complete nuisance to Monk, and Monk still alive for a fair amount of time, but finally shut down by Flaxish as everybody else is jumping in. Flaxish is going to lose his life. It's a 2-for-1 as the final inhibitor tower crumbles. The mid lane inhibitor will be left exposed, and Deski's just going to be able to take this one down as Pedersen's trying to catch the wave, but Dragain and Svene are going to chase him down. The taunt not quite close enough to chase him, as Dragain will just continue to try and deal with this Calber. I don't think you can catch all of these waves, unfortunately. The Nexus is going to explode, and Galaxy Racer 2-0 Dusty.
It's time for some new blood in the league. Unfortunately, Jake here, this is very convincing as well. Outside from a few fights coming from Dusty, it never felt like they had anything in this game. Yes, they got the gold lead, but they never got the proper objective set up. They look so clustered in the fights as well. It looked like communication was not on point either. And from the side of Galaxy Racer, yes, it was not perfect macro coming out, but they were absolutely the better individual players coming out in this game, and it showed in these fights that we saw.
Very bloody series, honestly. 2 games of just complete chaos, and that's the kind of League of Legends I love. But we're going to throw it to a break, and when we're back, Excounter and the gang will break down that game. So we'll see you in a jiffy.
What's that strange face staring at me in the mirror, in the mirror? What's this strange change of season coming over, coming over? It goes on and on and on, and it never seems to stop. It goes on and on and on. What do I need? What do I need? I need to make it happen. To make it happen. Oh,
time to make a start. We can't stay where we are, my love. This is our one chance to chase the sun. We've got to cut and run, my love. For all the reasons we work so hard, for the life that we deserve. I know that we'll be on golden sands, seeing far across the world.
Well, Galaxy Racer absolutely smashed it. A little bit of a back and forth second game, but they just 2-0'd Dusty and put them down into the losers bracket. And that means that Galaxy Racer are one series away from qualifying back into the NLC.
I think a little bit of an up and down game and absolutely smashed it is a bit of an understatement and overstatement back to back. This guy's completely fumbled the entire early game. And then when they finally started creeping back slowly but surely, they allow a support Alistair to steal the Baron out of their hands. They made such an insane comeback play. The Baron is free, and what do you know? The steak that you eat, Excandrel, jumped straight out of the pan and stole the Baron.
That was an alive steak.
Yep, superior comp ended up winning in the end, and Jakey again with some insane flanks. Just
Yeah. Jakey popped off both of these games, actually. I kind of want to talk to Galaxy Racer, though. So I've got Zvene standing by for an interview, so I am going to bring him into chat. And Zvene, the last time I cast you, you were a top laner. Now you're a support. How has that transition? How has that transition been for you? Why did you make that decision to change roles, and kind of what entailed in terms of relearning how you play the game?
I mean, I've always been good on engage champs, and the meta is kind of fits for that. Like, I just love to go in, and I realized that playing solo queue as a top laner is very mentally draining. So I just, when I got an offer for GXR, they wanted me as a support, and I just went with it.
And it's something you just adapted to naturally because of the style of champions that you like to play, like the Alistairs, the Gallios, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, basically. Like, I also Rel, which is my favorite champion by far right now. Like, I used to love to go in, and I have a lot of experience, so I provide a lot in comms. I always did from top, maybe too much for some teams. They just told me to be quiet and focus on myself. But on support, I don't really need to do that. So, yeah, it feels good.
And obviously, you beat Dusty in a 2-0 here. Were you expecting that? Were you kind of gauging yourself as a team that was one of the strongest coming into this tournament?
Honestly, we didn't know what to expect because they didn't play for so long. And I think it was 2 patches ago when they were actually playing, so we had no idea what they would be playing. But we were confident going into the series, and I think it worked out fine. Like, we just played our game, even though our game is very, very, how to say, scrappy. I don't know if it's the correct word, but...
Yeah.
But, like, we're not good at having clean games. Let's just say it like that.
But I mean, something that we talked a little bit about is Jakey, your jungler. I'm hoping I'm saying his name correct. That's what I remember it from the EU Masters. He came in and he's kind of been like a rising EU talent in the jungle. Like, he had a really good performance with his Suba in the European Masters previously, and now playing with you guys in Galaxy Racer. Is he a big kind of voice in the team? Is he someone that you kind of rely on to do more carrying than maybe other junglers?
I mean, we play for him a lot in the way we play, and when we started out, he always complained that I wasn't with him when we were doing stuff. And I mean, right now, like in the Telia Masters, we were basically, me and him were laning more than me and Monk, and we put him in good matchups, and he will carry basically. It was a big jungle diff today. I gotta say that.
he smurfed it. That first game on Graves, dude. That was that was Jakey all the way right there. I want to talk a little bit about the next series that will be coming up soon. We've got Eminem and Bifrost. Now, you lost to Bifrost in the finals of the Telia Masters. Do you think Bifrost are the stronger team, or do you think that you had like an off day at that point? Like Bifrost surprised a lot of people. So what do you make of them, and how do you think that series will go in versus M&M?
I think we shouldn't have lost to them. I think our preparation for the games were really off, and we thought we would steamroll them, I think. Like, I don't think we gave cred for their mid laners champion pool, and we ran into some draft issues. But regardless, I think Bifrost is a good team, and they play a lot of different things. I don't know how good M&M is, because they have made some roster changes. But if they're the same as in NLC, it's going to be a 2-0 Bifrost easy.
2-0 Bifrost easy. I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. Like you said, the roster changes could be impactful for M&M, so we'll see how it goes. Svene, lovely to talk to you. I'm so glad that you're doing well. You've got another series coming up tomorrow, and I believe if you win that, you're in the NLC. So that is a big opportunity for you guys, and congratulations again for today.
Thank you.
Nice to hear from Svene. Always really chilled out and just a super nice guy as well. Of course, that is a quick 2-0 for Galaxy Racer there. There was a lot of pressure on them, I think, obviously coming in as the kind of more unknown team in the NLC here, but as another case of Telia Masters teams really rising up and kind of smurfing it when it comes to threatening. If we have like Galaxy Racer and Bifrost win, we will have a churn of 4 separate new teams coming into the NLC over the course of 2 seasons. So that is a big shift up in terms of the teams that we'll have in our roster. I believe we have a play of the game, which will actually now be, essentially the play of the series here, Trouble. So Trouble or Gulborg? Sorry, Trouble, I always say Gulborg. Trouble or Jamada? Who's breaking it down?
I'm breaking it down. So this is pretty much, in my opinion, the winning play right here. And I don't like the green, so I'm gonna go for orange. As we start playing this clip, you see that Dusty is all packed in this area right here, and Jakey has got the perfect flank. Now the thing is that what Jakey does really well is he waits for the right moment for all the poke to get onto Dusty, and then he will try to make his way towards Hoyes. Now Hoyes is surrounded by his entire team, but they are literally all stuck in the same place. They've been sandwiched by Galaxy Racer, and you'll see that now. The second he gets spotted by this ward, he goes straight in, and if we pause it right here, this is a massive Galio ultimate that's going to land on 1, 2, 3, 4 members of Dusty, including this Karthus that should be playing around here. Karthus should be right there, stopping any sort of engage and dealing damage to the backline of Galaxy Racer. This is not the case. That flank was beautiful. The knockup worked right there, and you have Khan and Svene keeping all 4 members of Dusty occupied, whilst the backline of Galaxy Racer being completely untouched. And I just really like that Khan actually overextends here, keeps Chelm at bay, manages to kill the opponent ADC as well, and gives Galaxy Racer a bigger numbers advantage right here, especially when it comes to the Dragon. And then Chelm will try to steal. Unfortunate for him, he will flash onto this trap right here and gets instantly blown up. If that wasn't the case, we could be talking about a steal, but it's GG, well played. I felt like that was Jakey diff in both the series. He absolutely smurfed it. And it's really funny because Svene came and said, I've played more with my jungler, I've duoed more with my jungler, I've paired up more with my jungler than I've done with my ADC. This is a big feels bad man for the ADC.
Yeah, I think in general though, like sort of to take from that series, I think Dusty can still kind of be happy with, for the most part, their drafts. I think they just need to sort of play to their conditions a little bit more. I think in this game in particular, whilst I think Galaxy Racer's composition was, yes, kind of overbearing, they had all of the correct kind of tools to deal with it. They had pretty much a full kite back comp. There is no kind of stronger comp you would want to be on versus a comp like Galaxy Racer's, but I think they just let too many dragons go, and that's kind of just the strength of having the Olaf and the Caitlyn there at the same time. I think in the lower bracket, they should be okay for at least the first round, assuming that they're going to be playing into M&M. But after that, if they have to rematch versus either Galaxy Racer or Bifrost again, I definitely see issues for them.
Well, yeah, it could be the case. I mean, obviously, Galaxy Racer came out swinging here. They look a super strong team.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned M&M. Obviously, our next series is M&M versus Bifrost. M&M have made some roster changes. So we do have some new members coming into the M&M roster. And as Svene said, he doesn't know how that's going to affect their power level. And I think neither do we at this point in time. So let's see what happens. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our second series of the night.